You're watching America's Day at the Races, or America's Evening at the Races, we should say. Our program brought to you by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. The Big M at the Meadowlands, the site of some of our thrilling action on this evening's show. I'm your host, Acacia Clement, pleased to be joined by Paul Verderosa. And Paul, we have a jam-packed evening coming up tonight, of course, with the action for the Meadowlands. We'll have a little Charlestown in there as well, but some really, really exciting action at the Big M.
Yeah, stakes season is getting underway in earnest at the Big M, and it's going to all culminate in a few weeks with the Meadowlands Pace, but a lot of great horses in tonight, a lot of great stakes action. And
we're really excited. We'll be having the Meadowlands on our show on America's Day at the Races the next 3 weeks, in fact, tonight, next weekend, and actually what's opening weekend at Saratoga as well. So hope that you'll tune in for all of those great shows. And one of the stakes tonight is a special one, the Dave Brower, formerly the Roll with Joe. This one, the Dave Brower Memorial, in honor of the Meadowlands racing personality, the wonderful Dave Brower, who we lost unexpectedly in October. As we bring in our live boots on the ground at the Meadowlands, Jessica Otten and Gabe Pruitt. And guys, I know a very special and meaningful race that we'll have as our feature tonight in the Dave Brower Memorial, with some really talented runners to look forward to as well.
An overflow field of 11, and Gabe and I are so excited to be with you guys tonight throughout the card here, getting our stake season underway, of course. And just to go back to the Dave Brower Memorial, he would have loved this race, wouldn't he have?
Yeah, I really would. It's going to be a shootout at 11-horse field, Jess. There's a ton of early speed. The very best free-for-all pacers in the sport of harness racing are signed on for what is a blockbuster field. We're happy to have some of Dave's family on track tonight as well. His sister Laura's here. She'll be down in the winner's circle after that race. It's going to be an excellent event.
It really is. And we've got the fastest horse of the year in that event, of course, Ruthless Hanover. I think he's Hanover's coming into the race undefeated. And how can you leave Lochinvar Art out? He won a big mile in the Battle of Lake Erie.
Yes, he really did. Lauren Triton become the first female driver to participate in the Battle of Lake Erie, and then she just celebrated by winning it at 18-1. So that was really nice to see. She's back tonight. She's got a perfect mid-pack post. She may be one that benefits from all of that early speed in there, because we absolutely have a couple of horses going to leave from the outside of the gate. And you'll see Lauren Triton get the job done with Lochinvar Art in that thrilling $200,000 Battle of Lake Erie.
And what I love about this horse is he's so versatile. We've seen him here at the Meadowlands do it on the front end. Battle of Lake Erie was able to work over a second over trip, and he really just stormed home powerfully.
Yeah, you just took a look at that replay, and you'll see that she drafted along perfectly. Top of the stretch, she had Lochinvar Art in a perfect striking position, tipped 3 wide, and got the job done. You know, and that's the type of trip she is looking for in this event right here tonight.
And plenty of stakes action, of course, the 6-pack for those open mare trotters. Bella Bellini, Raised by Lindy, Jiggy Jog will take on the older horses, as well as the perfect stink for the older mare trotters. Really looking for that one as well. Of course, Tessa Faith is making her debut. This is going to be her last season of racing before heading to the breeding shed. And then, of course, Grace Hill, she's undefeated.
Yeah, she's been sensational. Doug McNair, who's one of the leading drivers up at Woodbine at Mohawk Park, he's in town tonight for one drive, and one drive only. He's going to drive what's likely the favorite there. And Grace Hill, she's 4 for 4 this season. She is the one to beat.
I think so, too. And great to have Dougie with us today, because sometimes they put him down to drive and he just stays up in Canada. So really happy to have him here with us. We're really happy that you guys are able to join us. It's going to be a great night of racing.
It is indeed. Jess and Gabe, thank you so much. And Paul, I know you knew Dave Brower, and you were nodding as they said Dave would have loved this race and the runners assembled for it tonight.
Yeah, I think Dave would also appreciate the pick I'm going to have tonight as well, because I'm picking one of the longer shots in the race. Dave was such a great guy and just an out-of-this-world talent. So knowledgeable, such a great ambassador for this game. And actually, how I first started talking to Dave was through social media, because he loved my food posts. He was a foodie, so he loved the Italian food. He loved the post and the Rangers and racing, and he was one of my first interviews that I actually did.
Very cool.
Was Dave Brower. So he's a great guy, and it's great to celebrate him with the kind of race like this tonight.
He is missed for sure, but we hope to pay tribute a little bit to the great talent of Dave Brower this evening. That's the Dave Brower Memorial coming up as race 10 at the Meadowlands. Part of some of the exciting stakes that Jessica mentioned, 6-pack, perfect staying, the Crawford Farms as well. Races 6 through 11 for the Meadowlands. Fast main track there at the Big M. We also have races 3 through 8 at Charlestown, a muddy main track we're dealing with there in West Virginia. You can join Ira Bets today and play all of the action on our program and a whole lot more while earning up to a $200 deposit match bonus. Sign up with promo code BONUS200 and you could earn up to a $200 deposit match right after your first deposit. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Don't forget to join now at IraBets.com for your $200 deposit match. We'll kick things off as far as our live racing action is concerned over at Charlestown with some West Virginia breds in race number 3. Few scratches on the cards. We have a field of 7 here. Full Moon Lover, the number 2, coming out of some West Virginia stakes bred company. Currently your favorite. No surprise there, Paul, at 6-5.
Yeah, no surprise there. The 2 and the 3, Coach Rube, too, they come out of the same race a couple starts back in that Fancy Buckles. Great Spirit won that race, 4 for 6 lifetime. A really good Crystal Pickett horse, too, like a nose away from being 5 for 8. Full Moon Lover had the better inside trip that day. Coach Rube was kind of 3 to 4 wide around the track. It's a productive race. I mean, Coach Rube came back, ran second over at Mountaineer last time out, and Mackenzie's Music wired an allowance race, too, over at Mountaineer. I don't know, though. I just, with Full Moon Lover, I just kind of wonder. 2023 hasn't been as good as 2022 has been. And the speed kind of disappeared a little bit, too. It's been laying 2 and 3 lanes off the lead. So it's at 3 to 2 right now. I don't know. I'm kind of against the horse a little bit. I actually landed on the 5 in here, Miss Wave.
Okay.
Landed on Miss Wave a little bit. Yeah, last out winner. And you know what? I know that race was at 7, but this horse has the speed to keep up at 4.5. It's run well at 5.5 as well. Kind of needs a more faster race, one more step forward for this horse tonight, hopefully. Maybe she can step forward one more time because she's been getting progressively faster. I mean, if she runs 3 points higher, 60 puts her in the conversation, and she's 12 to 1 right now.
She's a generous price for sure.
Yeah, and she's got a good wet track record. I mean, sometimes I don't go too crazy putting too much stock into that, but she does have some tactical speed in here. And even going 4.5, she can lay close in here. And I just I'm going to take a shot with her at 12 to 1. I'm surprised the horse on the outside, too. Jack's sister Jill taking a lot of money.
I was just going to mention that. She was 10 to 1 on the morning line, and she's 3 to 1 right now. I guess she's going back in with West Virginia bred company after facing Open and finishing second last time out.
Yeah, technically it's a step down, but so many others are doing it in here as well. I mean,
where'd they go?
Yeah, they must have. I don't know. Did they leave? Was it us? I don't know.
It was probably us.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Oh, there they go.
Are.
There they go. A little slow on the walk up. They knew we were talking about them. So I just with this horse, I was surprised actually that she's taking a lot of money. Jockey, by the way, Abdul Bogachica still looking for his first career win too. So maybe he gets it here.
Yeah, pretty cool. He's had a few in the money finishes with 3 seconds and 7/3. He's on a 7 to 2 shot right now. And one thing is interesting about this mare too, she has a lot of early speed, and we've seen that from her recently. And again, she's back into restricted state bred company.
Yeah, and the last time we were on together and we covered Charlestown, the track came up wet and you needed to be close. There was only like one race that collapsed in here. So having good positional speed may help. We're going to find out shortly.
Yes, we will. 8 to 5 on the number 2, Full Moon Lover. We'll see if she can get back on track today as they load in for the 3rd at Charlestown. We'll send it up to track announcer Paul Espinosa for the call.
Manarola moves in. And so the last one to load will be Juba's House. Juba's House is in. They're in the gate. And they're off. There goes Full Moon Lover out for the early lead. Juba's House and Jack's sister Jill had good dispatches, and Emberly rushes through down at the fence, but Full Moon Lover is the quickest of them all. Jack's sister Jill comes up to challenge her. Emberly is back in 3rd. Coach Rube's right there in between horses. Juba's House now backs off into 5th. It's another 4 or so back to Manarola, and Miss Wave the trailer as they hit the far turn. Full Moon Lover and Jack's sister Jill go 1-2 into the turn through a 21 and 4 first quarter. Full Moon Lover is blazing the way. Jack's sister Jill still right there in that 2nd spot. Now drifts a few paths off of Full Moon Lover's path with 1 furlong to go. And now Coach Rube comes on through to switch to the 2 path to put in her bid, but Full Moon Lover got the jump in front by 2. Coach Rube is closing in, but running out of time. Full Moon Lover reaches for the wire, so does Coach Rube. Full Moon Lover by a hard-fought neck over Coach Rube. And then came Manarola.
Strides were shortening, but she was clear. Full Moon Lover got back to that early speed and got back to her winning ways.
Yeah, right to the top. Was pressured on the outside by Jack's sister Jill, which we had talked about, but just had enough late to hold off Coach Rube, who's found her groove again in her last couple of starts.
Yeah, she always runs well, Coach Rube. And the number 7, Jack's sister Jill, she did show early speed as anticipated. She did not handle that turn well coming into the stretch, blowing the turn a little bit and then fading. But this one, your winner, your favorite, Full Moon Lover, taking some pressure and able to hold on just fine. Back at the Meadowlands, the 6-pack will kick off the live racing action there. It's a 1-mile trot. Taking a look at the field, Jiggy Jog currently 1 to 9. And the question, I think, Paul, is what happened to Bella Bellini?
Yeah, I don't know. This year just hasn't been the same Bella Bellini that we've seen. I mean, we all know how good she is, but only 1 for 5 this year in 2023. She's going to have to step it up. I mean, she made a premature move last time out as the beaten favorite. We'll see what she's got tonight against a really tough foe to her outside.
Jiggy Jog has been really good. She's 2 for 2 this year. Of course, won the Breeders' Crown back last fall. That's the 6-pack to start things off on our program at the Meadowland. We'll take a quick time out. We'll talk more about this very competitive field after this. And we'll also preview some exciting 3-year-olds getting ready for Saratoga.
Olympiad leads American Revolution. Olympiad gets the gold in the Jockey Club Gold Cup.
Those are some sights that we know well up at the spa, Saratoga. We'll be there in less than 2 weeks. Opening day coming up, Paul. We'll be here so soon, Thursday, July 13th for Saratoga. We just can't wait to see all the fans out and all of the wonderful racing and excitement we've come to look forward to.
Yeah, it'll be a packed house like it always is, and looking forward to it on opening week.
And here's Fox Saratoga Saturday. We're so excited to have 6 opportunities on these big Saturdays. On Big Fox, you can watch the show and get a chance to see some of the best racing in the country throughout the summer, of course, highlighted by that Travers, the Midsummer Derby for $1.25 million on August 26th.
Yeah, a lot of great racing. Looking forward to see where the 3-year-olds go from here, and it's going to be a great show.
Some horses we could potentially see the Travers coming out of the Belmont Stakes. The 2-year-old champion Forte for Todd Fletcher finishing second after a wide move behind Archangelo. Of course, missed the Kentucky Derby with that foot bruise. He worked 4 furlongs yesterday. That's another horse from another barn on the outside, but he's on the inside of Major Dude, a turf horse, and a horse that has been he's on the outside of Major Dude. That dark bay is pretty easy to spot, and he's not the most generous of workhorses, Paul. He's not going to be the one that's the most flashy in the mornings.
Yeah, but I think, you have to look at this as that the mission was accomplished here, though, if you think about it, right? I mean, it was a nice, easy work back, well within himself. They got it the quarter out in 25. I think it was in 50-4 to the half, going 103 on the gallop out for 5 furlongs. And Todd said he's going to have one more work down here before he heads up to Saratoga. So it'll be interesting to see where he runs next. And good thing is he didn't get keen. Also being in between, the horse that was outside, Major Dude inside. So it was good work.
Third in the Belmont Stakes and didn't really kick in perhaps as much as you would have liked to see in the Belmont Tapit Trice, a horse that is a very generous workhorse, worked 48 flat solo, and even in company, he just strides out so beautifully, Paul. I always love how this horse moves. And Todd Fletcher is saying undecided as of yet for the next stop for both of these horses, potentially the Jim Dandy in Saratoga or the Haskell, and both of them ultimately looking to the Travers as the big goal.
Yeah, and logic says it's going to be one of those 2 races that they're going to either split up in or so on. But I mean, I liked what I saw from him, and he's such a sharp workhorse, and he always is. And he came out of the Belmont in really good order, which is a really good thing, because sometimes you don't know how they're going to come out if you're going the 1.5 miles and everything. So I think it was a solid work for him, and it'll be interesting to see where he goes. I've been high on him since the start. It was him and 2 fills for me. Now 2 fills is out, unfortunately. So I'm a Tapit Trice guy. I want to see what happens here the rest of the summer
I'm
with
a
him.
fan, too. I just really wish he'd shown me a little bit more in that Belmont Stakes, because he had the pedigree for it. He'd been training so well. And it is interesting looking at those 2 horses because they're so different in their training styles and what they're going to give you in the mornings. But they are 2 of the top 3-year-olds that we could potentially see in Saratoga for Todd Fletcher. Of course, hoping we see the Belmont Stakes winner Archangelo, who is in Saratoga already. He stretched his legs out on the main track for Jenna Antonucci. I was hanging out in the barn with him the other day when he was taking a nap, and he says, "Don't bother me. I need my beauty sleep. I'm looking forward to the summer."
Yeah, he's like, leave me be. He's like, Jenna's got me ready for next week, maybe getting back on the work tab. So need my beauty rest. You're right. Disarm, too, is a horse that I'm looking at. He was back on the work tab, too, after that Matt win victory, too. Went 101 and 2.
Kentucky Derby winner Mage could potentially be pointing to some big races this summer. Preakness winner National Treasure. It could be really, really exciting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out and who grows up, because there's always like different, form cycles for these horses, early on, mid-range, and then the end of the year.
Looking forward to all of that. But we have a nice stakes race at the Meadowlands up next as our next order of business. There is Bella Bellini as we meet the field for the 6-pack here, a 1-mile trot. As you mentioned, Paul, just 1 for 5 this year.
Yeah, we all know her resume, though, and you have to take into consideration that, she launched that premature move last time out in the Armbro Flight final. So we'll see what happens today. She's been back on Lasix for a few starts, too. I know a couple starts back there was an issue with that. We'll see today what happens. I still used her, though, on my pick 4.
Here's Jiggy Jog. She's your short price favorite now, 2 for 2 this year.
Yeah, finished off 2022 strong with that Breeders' Crown win. She's the horse to beat by far.
Rarari Xenia.
Matron Stakes winner. She's 0 for 6 this year, though. She's looking to get back on track tonight. We'll see what happens. She had some pop way long ago. We'll see if she can refine it again.
Here is Fashion Schooner. She has some bad class, too.
Yeah, she was the 2022 Hamiltonian Oaks winner. 2-1 last week in the Miss Versatility, but she tired late to be 5th.
Raised by Lindy.
Took in a limb of the Armbro Flight up in Canada. She was a strong 3rd in the leg of the Miss Versatility.
And the number 6, Eternal Lee.
She broke in that Armbro Flight elimination, so you could throw that out, and she ran 2nd here in a leg of the Versatility. We'll see what happens tonight. It's a big jump up for her, though.
That is the field for the upcoming 6-pack. And Paul, this kicks off a pick 4. What do you got for us?
So in the first leg, obviously using Jiggy Jog here, but I did try and get a little bit cute. I think Bella Bellini still has some horse in her, and I think she could find it. She has faster races to go back to. She's on the inside tonight, and one of these nights she's going to jump up and take care of business. In race number 7, I know it looks like I used a lot of horses, but everybody's like, oh, Grace Hill's just going to win this race. I know she's way the horse to beat, but I'm going to give it a shot. My other big top pick in there is the 7 Treacherous Dragon. Last time out at Woodbine and the Roses Are Red, it was supposed to be a big build matchup between them. It didn't happen based on her trip, and I think tonight she'll be a little bit tougher in here. She's 6-1 on the morning line. Bond is my single in race number 8. That's the Reynolds Memorial, and until somebody beats her, in this division, she's the girl I'm going to ride with because she's absolutely been unstoppable lately, and I'm just going to go with her. And in the Crawford Farms, my top pick in here, even though it's Academic Inventor, the horse to beat, 15-1, Ambassador Hanover on top from the polls, got races fast enough to compete with these horses.
Best of luck. Pick 4 kicking off here. Gabe Pruitt. Gabe, Paul singled Bond a little bit later on. How did you see this pick 4 sequence?
Well, Acacia, I can tell you, I think Paul singled Bond, I have singled Bond, and probably everyone else in this facility will single Bond because I think she's a slam dunk single in this pick 4 tonight. She's going to be 1-9 in that 8th race, the Reynolds stake there. So I'm trying to keep my ticket a little more narrow, potentially. If Paul's top choice gets there in the 9th race, it could blow this thing wide open. But I saw this playing out a little more formfully here. The first leg, I am using the big favorite, Jiggy Jog. I'm going to take a stand against Bella Bellini. I agree with Paul. Just don't think she's quite been herself so far this season. I thought Raised by Lindy here could be the early speedster. We've got a short field. Could Raised by Lindy get out there and get loose in the lead? I think so. And I think she'll play as a solidified 3rd choice here in the opening leg. 2nd leg, I'm against Test of Faith. She's 3-1 in the morning line. It's her seasonal debut from a very tough post 9. So I'm going to go 4 deep there. I'll use Grace Hill. I'll toss on a lot of prices there as well. 4, 6, 7, 10. Of course, Bond looks like the absolute single here. And guys, if I'm still rolling in that last leg, I'm going to go 2 deep. Of course, Vitterate just making his 2nd start of the season. And it's the North American return of Asteroid from post 6 off only 1 qualifier. This horse returns from overseas. He did actually begin his career here in the States as a 2-year-old. He was sold and he moved overseas, and he's really ripped through his competition over there. We'll see how he does here at his North American return.
That'll be fun. Gabe, thank you. Best of luck with your ticket, and to all of you who've singled Bond in today's Big 4 sequence. There's your favorite in the upcoming 6-pack, though. Jiggy Jog, she's been terrific in her last couple. Obviously, the credentials last year with that Breeders' Crown victory as well. She's a very logical favorite.
Yeah, and her 2 miles this year have been really sizzling, going that 150 and 3. And in her last start in the Graduate, I mean, this was a nice rally that she put in because she was behind horses, and then she ended up having to pull out and be 2nd over, which turned into 3rd over for her. And then she actually flipped off that cover, and she steamed home. Because here, when you look at her, you're like, all right, she's starting to get in gear a little bit. Horse in front's got a lead, and then under a hand drive, here we go. And in that last 1/8 of a mile, she just did it with ease and pulled her way to the front, much like the 1-5 shot she was in here.
Yeah, she won like a 1-5 shot should last time. We'll see if she does that tonight as well. Gabe mentioned another interesting runner in here, the number 5, Raised by Lindy, who will try to get back on track. She is 8-1, a generous price right now, but a very special horse, as tomorrow night there'll be a ceremony when Frank Antonacci of Lindy Farms will be inducted into the Harness Racing Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it's a special moment, and he's done so much for this game, and this horse is looking to get him something special right here tonight.
He's done so much for the whole harness racing sport and thoroughbreds as well, Jess, and I know a very special weekend for the whole team over at Lindy Farms.
Yes, it is. Lindy Farms actually had a nice winner on the card earlier tonight. Hambletonian eligible winner's bet. Pop the Pocket was a strong winner. So, you know, Frank Antonacci is going into the Hall of Fame, and we're so happy for him because he is... What? Is so happy that he is going into the Hall of Fame. He is a huge asset to harness racing, of course, not only here at the Meadowlands, but down at the Red Mile as well.
Yeah, he really is, Jess. And, you know, his thoroughbred ties, for those out there in the thoroughbred industry, they campaign no nay never. So, you know, really a nice thoroughbred stallion there. As you mentioned, a stakes winner already on the card tonight. Lindy Farms, Frank Antonacci's Lindy Farms, began in the early 70s. They've been associated. They've either owned or bred 9 millionaires in the sport of harness racing. Of course, the most famous, the great moneymaker. She retired with $5.5 million in earnings. She was the richest mare of either breed when she retired about 20 years ago. So that's obviously since been passed with some of the nice thoroughbred mares we've seen of late. But moneymaker actually won under saddle at the Red Mile with Julie Crone in their saddle there. So she was really a great horse, cool horse for Team Lindy, and we're so honored to have Frank Antonacci, Frank the Elder, they call him, going to the Harness Racing Hall of Fame. He's going to follow in the footsteps of his father, Guy Antonacci, and his cousin, Big Frank.
Yeah, so big congratulations to him, and best of luck as he sends out Raised by Lindy here in the 6-pack.
Yeah, very special weekend for the Antonacci team. And as Gabe mentioned, Frank's son, Phil, thoroughbred trainer as well. They're lining up for the six-pack. We'll send it up to Ken Workington for the call.
2 for 2 this season, defending champion and last year's Trotter of the Year. Bella Bellini at 3-1 right now. Trotting mares on gate, race 6, the six-pack. Here they come. And they're off and trotting. Fashion Schooner's out fast, and Jiggy Jog shoots out, engages her with Bella Bellini from the inside. Makes it 3 across the track into the first turn. Warwi Xenia taking a seat in fourth, followed by Raised by Lindy and Eternal Lee. Jiggy Jog right to the top there, and going on a break was Warwi Xenia. She broke on the first turn. Fashion Schooner, last year's Hambletonian Noakes champion, taking over with T-Trick just past the opening quarter. Fashion Schooner is 25-1, 28-1, a soft opening quarter for Fashion Schooner. Clear by 2 across the backstretch. So Jiggy Jog goes back to the top on the outside. A give and go move from Akis Funstead. So it's Bella Bellini looking to tighten in from third, and Raised by Lindy is fourth, followed by Eternal Lee, and way back the first turn breaker Warwi Xenia back trotting at the half. Jiggy Jog is a big 1-5 favorite here. Jiggy Jog by a length and a half, and hits the half in 56-4, 28-3 rating in the second quarter. Fashion Schooner second onto the far turn. Bella Bellini tracking from third, and she takes a peek to the outside. Looks to be fed racetrack. Raised by Lindy looking to follow her from fourth. Eternal Lee is fifth, heading to 3/4. Jiggy Jog by a tight length. Fashion Schooner right on the helmet, and here comes Bella Bellini on the outside, who gets the word from Dexter Dunn. Bella Bellini now to hook up with Jiggy Jog. The marquee matchup, stride for stride past 3/4 in 1:25 into the stretch. Jiggy Jog and Bella Bellini giving her all she can handle. As a Raised by Lindy is flashing some late trot in Fashion Schooner on the inside. Jiggy Jog counters and quickens. Bella Bellini on the outside, pouring it on, but it's Jiggy Jog prevailing. Jiggy Jog holds off Bella Bellini in the six-pack. Then Fashion Schooner and Raised by Lindy in 1:51.
Bella Bellini tried to make it interesting late, but Jiggy Jog able to hold on, as Akis Funstead was not messing around there, Paul. He said, let's put her right in the front and make sure she stays out of traffic.
Yeah, she quarter popped and went right to the top, and he looked over his shoulder a little bit, I think, to see what the time was, and he rated her really good. But, I mean, Jiggy Jog was just a little too much horse for this field, and she dug in and pulled away late, and that was so much better and an improved effort from Bella Bellini. When she got to the wheel, I was like, she needs 2 more strides, and she could get there, but Jiggy Jog fought her off.
We saw the number 3, Warwi Xenia, off stride early, taken out of the race as a result, but Jiggy Jog and Bella Bellini making it really exciting coming down to the wire. And as you said, I know Bella Bellini finished second in her most recent effort, but just kind of what we're used to seeing from her and what we've seen lately, this was a step back to what we knew from her last year.
Yeah, this was a step in the right direction. And in the last race, she made that middle move and kind of just flattened out, made the lead and got caught. Here she actually sat, and she had to go first over into the race. And she towed Raised by Lindy into it, who just wasn't good enough. But she showed Bella Bellini that she still got some heart in her, and she still got some race in her.
Good to see that. But Jiggy Jog, she now makes it 3 for 3 in this season, and she's been so impressive lately, delivers as your favorite in the six-pack. Jiggy Jog, the winner over Bella Bellini, will bring you prices, reactions, and a whole lot more live racing just getting started on America's Day at the Races on FS2. Stay with us after this quick break.
DeMarchelier offers breeders a rare opportunity as the only son of Dubawi standing in Kentucky. Dubawi, one of the world's most celebrated stallions, is now a sire of sires. With a picture-perfect pedigree, this son of Dubawi brings one of the world's most potent bloodlines to America. Now his progeny are bringing top dollar in the sales ring. DeMarchelier, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Become a member of the United States Trotting Association and take advantage of special benefits including pathway savings, member pricing on American Horse Council publications, and discounts on products and services, and so much more. USTrotting.com is where you'll find entries and results from all the racetracks and get behind-the-scenes stories as the USTA visits farms and stables before major races such as the Hambletonian, Little Brown Jug, and Breeders' Crown. It's easy to join. Fill out the new member form on our website or call our member services department at 877-800-USTA.
Canterbury Park's BCBC Handicapping Contest is September 13th. $1,000 entry fee and $1,000 live bankroll. Play on expressbet.com or at the park. Win your way to the Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge or the National Horse Players Championship in Canterbury Park's BCBC NHC Qualifier Contest on Wednesday, September 13th. Powered by ExpressBet.
The nation's #1 horses of racing age sale. Since its inception in 2013, this sale has produced 28% stakes horses, 75 stakes winners, and over $75 million in racetrack earnings. Recent star graduates include Grade 1 winners Atone and Stiletto Boy, plus graded stakes winners Newgrange, Greeley and Ben, and Middle Eastern stars Scotland Yard and Electability. July selected horses of racing age. Monday, July 10th at Fasig-Tipton in Lexington, Kentucky. Where will you be?
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races on FS2, brought to you by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. They made it exciting in the six-pack at the Meadowlands with Jiggy Jog, your favorite. Just too much racehorse, and she's in terrific form right now, Paul.
Yeah, 3 for 3 in 2023, and she's going to keep it rolling because she's tough, and she's got a lot of heart, and she's strung a lot of wins together now, too, and she knows she's a winner.
She knows the way to the winner's circle. She was your 1-5 favorite, 2-1-4 in the six-pack. Fashion Scooter, who was that pace setter early on at 25-1, able to hold on to third. Jiggy Jog holding off Bella Bellini, who put in an improved effort today.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see where Bella Bellini goes from here because she showed she's got some fight now and some race back in her. And right here, I thought, right there, I'm like, well, she might steamroll by her, but Ake had a lot of horse still underneath him, and you know, she's tough when you get to her, and we've seen it in a couple of her races prior to when it's gotten tight with Jiggy Jog within that length time. She can dig in, and she pulled away here late from a really good horse.
She has been so good lately. Jiggy Jog holding on for the win in the six-pack. Aki Svanstedt, trainer and driver, pilots this one to victory. Big performance from Jiggy Jog. Again, we saw her, all of that culminating in a Breeders' Crown victory back last October. The Perfect Sting is coming up next. It's a 1-mile pace for open mares. And kind of fun, Paul, as we have the Perfect Sting harness racing and the Perfect Sting of thoroughbred racing all in one weekend.
Yeah, it's great. And you know what? 2 great horses, and they've done 2 great things as well.
Well, speaking of Aki Svanstedt, driver and trainer for Jiggy Jog, he's standing by with Gabe.
Thanks so much, Akay Shoka Svanstedt here in Oka. Take us through quite the heavyweight matchup at the top of the stretch with Bella Bellini pouring out the pressure.
Yeah, we picked up the speed a lot when Bella Bellini came, but she had a neck before her the whole stretch, and I didn't need to ask her. She did it by herself.
Yeah, and you got away with a nice rating on the front. You had to be happy with those fractions.
Oh, yes, very.
And take us through the process. Dexter Dunn had been driving Jiggy Jog. Obviously, Dexter's with Bella Bellini. How did the planning go? How did you end up back in the race bike?
Yeah, Dexter had drove Bella Bellini all his starts, so he said he must drive her. But it was a chance for me to drive, and it was fun.
That was fun, I'm sure. No, this was her first test against aged mares out of her own age group, and she passed it with flying colors.
Oh, yes, she is good. She had taken one more step this year than last year, so she's a very good horse.
Oka Svanstedt, congratulations. We'll let you get back to the paddock with Jiggy Jog. She looks like she's ready to go around again, guys.
I love to see it, Gabe. What a nice performance from Jiggy Jog. I loved what he said. She is good.
Yeah, and there's nothing like doing it yourself, right? So he just trains and said, you know what, I'm going to drive tonight. I don't need a catch driver. I got this. I'm doing this myself, 100%. So nothing like doing it yourself.
And he got to enjoy it as well and into the winner's circle. As mentioned, the Perfect Sting coming up next at the Meadowlands, that 1-mile pace for open mares. And a competitive group too, as you saw that field coming up next in the perfect sting. And pretty interesting is we heard Gabe and Jessica talking earlier about Test of Faith as she makes her seasonal debut. Also, last year we'll get to see her racing.
Yeah, I'm a little against her tonight too in her first start, just like Gabe. I think she's going to need a race off the break. She did manage to shave like 4 seconds off her second qualifier, and that's what you want to see with these horses when they start qualifying to get their year started. Their first one may not be as fast, and they want to pick it up gradually. She actually shaved 4 seconds off of that, so it'll be interesting to see where she is. But she's saddled with such a bad post tonight with post 9, and you also have to go up against Grace Hill and a couple other heavy hitters that are in here.
Well, tomorrow at Belmont Park, race 3 on the card will be the perfect sting for the thoroughbreds. A mile on the turf for the fillies and mares at 4-year-olds and up. A compact field, but a competitive one. You do have 3 for Chad Brown, including the 5-year-old debut of Technical Analysis, a filly who comes out of finishing 4th in the First Lady behind her uber talented stablemate in Italian. And prior to that, ran a 101 by her speed figure, winning the Boston Spa.
Yeah, she went a little off form later in the year, but you know what? She gave Italian all she could handle back in the Diana, too. So she's a good horse. I mean, you know, she's had a few nagging issues that have popped up. I don't think it was anything serious, but it was just enough to let her be shelved a little bit and keep her out. And she's 1 of 3 in here for Chad Brown. I mean, I have to think she's kind of looking around, and she's looking around saying, I don't see any of these big A-lister heavy hitters from my barn in here. So I think that she's the horse to beat for sure. And she's been in the background of some of those bigger stablemates.
I love that shot of her in the stall. Back over to Charlestown. They're loading in the gate for race number 4, 6.5 furlongs in this allowance. We'll send it up to Paul Espinosa for the call.
And the sky is falling. Here's Cousin Winnie. Last one in will be Hessica. A stakes quality field set to go here. To kick off the pick 6 sequence, Hessica goes in. They're in the gate. And they're off. All 6 broke in a good line, and Chromatic Glass, the heavy favorite, heads out to set the early pace. Cousin Winnie moves up to challenge her, and Change the World is right there too. Hessica's up close tonight. Time to get up. Her stablemate down at the inside, and the early trailer is The Sky is Falling. But Chromatic Glass, the favorite, will run the point. No free rides as Cousin Winnie takes it to her as they head around the clubhouse turn. Hessica's parked out about 3 wide from her outside post. Change the World is back in 4th. It's another 3 to Time to Get Up. And the trailer remains The Sky is Falling. So the 6-pack of West Virginia bred fillies and mares head up the backstretch led by Chromatic Glass. 23-2 for a testing first quarter. Chromatic Glass and Cousin Winnie right alongside. Hessica still right there too. A length back in that 3rd position. Change the World right there in the thick of things. Going to need to work out a trip. And then Time to Get Up and The Sky is Falling. Opening half in 47 seconds flat. Chromatic Glass is back in front. Cousin Winnie and Hessica continue to challenge. Change the World looking for racing room with 3/16 to go. Then Time to Get Up and The Sky is Falling. Starts to unwind, but still 5 lengths to find with 1 furlong to go. Chromatic Glass cuts the corner. Change the World spies real estate and comes on through. Here comes Change the World, who surges past with a 16th to go. Her stablemate The Sky is Falling, erupting out in the center, but Change the World got the jump and draws off to take it. Change the World by almost 2 from The Sky is Falling, and then Chromatic Glass along with Hessica for the Miners. Final time 1:19 flat.
Number 5, Change the World, got the win last time out, beating a few of these, and she makes it 2 victories in a row.
Yeah, she paired up for wins here, and once she got some space, she really took off and put away Chromatic Glass, who was under the gun from every step of the way. And stablemates run 1-2 here. The Sky is Falling. He came back, came up on the far outside late to get the job done, and there's Change the World, got the split, and drove off to the win. Stablemate The Sky is Falling sat back last and made a nice rally into that pace.
The Sky is Falling, coming in off a little bit of a layoff as well. Change the World, again, now makes it 2 victories in a row, finishing on the left lead, but did not matter. This filly by overanalyzing good form right now. Your favorite was Chromatic Glass, who was 4 for 5 coming in. Took some pressure, not today.
Yeah, I think from being under the gun from the start. And actually, she did put in a little bit of a run heading around that far turn and got to the lead again, but just didn't have enough left in the end.
Number 5, Change the World, the winner, bring you prices. When we come back, we'll also continue with our stakes action over at the Meadowlands as well. Stay with us on America's Day at the Races.
perfect day. There is no finer place in all of sports.
Nerves, excitement, and anticipation.
Than beautiful, truly stunning. To the Breeders' Cup World Championships.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races, brought to you by Naira Bets. You can bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Get started at nairabets.com or download the app today. Remind everybody you can play along with Naira Bets and use promo code BONUS200 and earn up to a $200 deposit match right after your first deposit. Get started over at nairabets.com. We don't want you to miss out on anything, especially because we have such good racing still to come over at the Meadowlands and Perfect Sting. Again, it's all about Perfect Sting this weekend of various forms of Perfect Sting. This one, a 1 mile pace in honor of the undefeated Dan Patch, undefeated at 2, Dan Patch winner Perfect Sting, a Breeders' Crown champion at 2 and 3, now standing in New Jersey in his first crop on the ground, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, such a great horse as well. Always showed up, always danced every dance, and a champion in all respects.
Grace Hill, the number 4, 1-2 right now on the board. We'll talk a little bit more about her in a moment, but as mentioned, we have the harness horse, Perfect Sting, and then we also have the champion mare, the 2000 Eclipse champion grass mare, Perfect Sting, for Joe Orsino when the 2000 Breeders' Cup Pillion Mare Turf. We'll pay tribute to her tomorrow at Belmont Park.
Yeah, it should be a great race to pay tribute to her, and I have a personal Perfect Sting memory.
Yes, you just shared.
Yeah, 1999. I was here that day when Pat Day put on one of those super patient, what are you doing rides, and just got up ahead to beat a horse called Terravine. You know who that horse is, of course, I'm sure.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, Mig was up on that horse that day and got beat ahead. So
yeah.
I'm sure Christoph and Mig were not happy.
The runner-up trained by my father-in-law, Christoph Kumada, Richard Migliori in the saddle for that one. Back over at Charlestown, Change the World with the win. Stable mates running 1-2. Your favorite left to settle for third.
Yeah, Chromatic Glass. I mean, she broke well. She broke on top. She just faced pressure every step of the way. Put in a little bit of run around the turn, but she just got beat by a horse who got a really good trip in there.
And is in good form right now, making it 2 victories in a row. Change the World, $11.40 winner. As, again, Grace Hill coming up next, your favorite in the Perfect Sting at the Meadowlands. Again, for that 1 mile pace, a horse that's been in terrific form lately, and we saw Jiggy Jog, a horse in the last race that was in great form. Once again, you've got kind of the now horse in Grace Hill trying to keep that good momentum going.
Yeah, and the mileage she put together, going 147 and 5, I mean, that was a track record, a stakes record, a Canadian record. So she really put it together in her last start. Did it take a little bit out of her? We're going to find that out. She is way the horse to beat in here, but I'm going to try and beat her a little bit in here.
Who do you like?
I like the 7, Treacherous Dragon, in here.
Okay.
They both come out of the Roses Are Red Stakes race, and it was supposed to be billed up as a matchup of Treacherous Dragon against Grace Hill. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out that way for Treacherous Dragon. Didn't get the trip that she needed. But I think tonight she'll get a better trip in this spot, and she's a generous 11-1 in here.
And horses starting to head out, as we mentioned, Test of Faith, 9-2. She was the 2021 Horse of the Year, 2022 Divisional Champion, and trying to get back on track.
Yeah, you know, with Test of Faith, I mean, again, you just wonder if she's going to need that start off those qualifiers that she had. The one thing I do love about the qualifiers, as I said a little bit earlier, was you like to see them get faster as they have these qualifiers. First one went in 1:55. The next one went in 1:51 and 4, so shaved off 4 seconds off of that. So tonight, that run puts her in the ballpark. She's also got post 9, though, tonight, and that's going to be a little bit of a problem. And first time out, you just don't know how that's going to translate.
Meeting the field, there is the number 1, Sweet Treasure.
Can't argue with the fact that she's been solid in her recent efforts, but this is a huge jump in class tonight.
Here's In Case You Didn't Know.
A couple of open wins down at Harrington. She's sharp, but she's got to move to the big track and face a lot better.
Boudoir Hanover, all big prices on the inside.
Yeah, found her form down at Oak Grove in Kentucky in Sire Stakes Company, but this is tougher again tonight.
Your favorite, Grace Hill.
Breeders' Crown, TVG champ, comes back to the Meadowlands fresh off that record-breaking score. She's way the horse to beat.
Here's Michaela. She has some good things to her name.
Yeah, she's got some nibbles in her starts this year, but she's coming in off a 6 scratch and a few weeks on top of that. It's just tough to make a case.
Kobe's Gigi is next.
Last time we saw her, she finished 4th behind Grace Hill up in Canada. She's won here in 23 and had some success before.
You're getting a nice price on Treacherous Dragon, 12-1.
Yeah, Dan Patch Award winner from last year. Started off her season strong. Didn't show a whole lot last time out. Like I said, it was billed as that big matchup. We'll see what happens tonight.
Racing Bell, I know you like the name.
Yeah, I love the League of Their Own thing. And Jason Bartlett, by the way, newest driver in the 10,000 win club. Only 20 of them in North America.
Very cool. There's the number 9, Test of Faith. Can she get back on track?
Yeah, we'll see what happens tonight. Again, I just don't like the post for her. I'm thinking next time.
Max Contract is next.
Took care of her business. She won that Open down at Philly, and she was a winner last time we saw her at the Meadowlands. She's pulled a few upsets on her best day.
And second tier, here's the number 11 Silver Label.
You know, she's won 4 of her 8 starts this year, and 3 of them were second, and she was behind Grace Hill last time out. She's got to find some length, some speed on that rival. She's in the second tier. You just don't know how that's going to turn out and who she's going to follow.
We'll see if she can get a trip in here today. 4-5, though, on Grace Hill right now. Do you think that she is worth being that short a price?
I think she is every bit of that 4-5. I mean, she was 5-2 on the line. I can see why she is 4-5 in here. She's got, of course, one of Canada's best drivers on her back, and Doug McNair as well. So, and he's headed overseas, too, to represent Canada in the World Driving Championship in August, going to the Netherlands, Belgium, Germany. So he's going to do some video updates for that, so that's going to be cool, too.
Very,
if you want to check that out.
4-5 on Grace Hill. We'll bring Jess and Gabe into the conversation. She's the horse to beat, guys. Are you thinking she's going to get it done tonight?
I absolutely think she's going to get it done tonight, Gabe. I think Grace Hill has plenty of versatility. I think she has plenty of sharpness. And I think Dougie coming in for this single drive on the card tonight speaks volume.
Yeah, he's confident. There's no question about that, Jess, as he should be, by the way. 5 for 5 at the beginner season. She's campaigned by trainer Virgil Morgan Jr. Now, he's the 2nd leading trainer all time in the sport of harness racing. He's got over 7,000 wins. He's primarily based in Ohio, so he does fly under the radar a little bit. Of course, Ron Burke is the leading trainer in the sport of harness racing. But here's the key about this race, Jess. We put one horse in the second tier, you know, so that sometimes triggers a lot more early speed. Some of the outside horses need to leave and get in position, because when you take back, you're even one horse further back if you take off the gate. So, you know, can she survive a shootout type pace into that opening turn? That's going to be the big question here.
I think it is very important to get out of the traffic way going into that first turn. I think she does have plenty of gate speed, and we've seen her race from off the pace. We've seen her make that one big move up the backside. So I really think she is the one to beat here at 3-5, but I think there's plenty of value underneath of her. I know that you didn't use this one underneath in your ticket, but we do need to talk about Test of Faith. She's making her 2023 debut here. It's going to be the last season she races. You got to give respect where respect's due.
No question about that. The connections have said they want to have 9 or 10 starts this year. She's a double millionaire, over $2.3 million, but she qualified in May, took some time off. About a month later, she qualified in June. Just had my concerns. She looked okay in the qualifiers. I know for the thoroughbred people out there, a month off doesn't sound like much at all, but for us harness guys, that's a long time, Jess, and she's 4-1 from a tough post. I think she's just going to take back. I think she'll be raced conservatively tonight, so I think in terms of wagering, I'm looking to beat Test of Faith out of this number. We do want to give a shout-out, of course, to one of her co-owners. That's Eddie Grant. He's in the University of Kentucky football coaching staff.
You also used the 7 in your gimmicks, as did I. Treacherous Dragon. I was a little disappointed in that final, and the roses are red. She's on the big board right now at 11-1. Nancy said she thought she tied up. There was a mishap up at Mohawk. She had to stand in the paddock and wait just a little while longer. But we know one horse that loves this racetrack. It is Treacherous Dragon.
No question about that, Jess. And I think that just gives her an alibi. It gives her an excuse, so to speak. So that's why she was a little disappointing. Keep in mind, Grace Hill was even money in that stakes race in Canada, and the 7 Treacherous Dragon was 6-5. So they were nearly the same price when they hooked up a couple of weeks ago. Big discrepancy here tonight. Grace Hill's 1-2. You're getting double digits right now on Treacherous Dragon.
Max Contract gets post 10 tonight to navigate through. We saw her here a year ago in the 3-year-old stakes come from well off of the pace to beat Treacherous Dragon, to beat Boudoir Hanover. She's coming off of a couple of stakes wins at Harris Philly, an open win at Harris Philly. I mean, they're giving her no respect on the toe.
Yeah, you want to know how difficult this race is, guys? The 10 Max Contract, Jess was just talking about, she's 10 of 16 in her career. She's undefeated here at the Meadowlands. She's 6 for 6. If there was ever a horse for the course, it's Max Contract right here at the Big M. But she does have that difficult slot tonight. She starts from the extreme outside post 10, but 37-1, Jess, on a horse that's undefeated. She has never lost on this track. Most of those were against stakes caliber competition.
And she definitely has that big kick home. She's got plenty of gate speed. She seems to be more mature now going into her 4-year-old season. Another horse you're getting 36-1 on is Kobe's Gigi. Now, going back to that Roses Are Red final, I thought David drove her perfectly until he pulled her first over against Grace Hill. I think if he would have sat there, he would have been second.
Well, he had a big excuse there to race a little dull. I mean, she was fourth. She left the gate. Then she was used again. Typically standardbred, you like to sit in, you like to draft, you like to conserve as much as you can until it's go time, so to speak. But Kobe's Gigi was used twice. She left the gate, then she was on the attack of the outside. So I thought she had every reason to get a little tired at the end of that race. Now, keep in mind, she has pulled off a monster stakes upset here in the past, the Big M. Last year on Hambletonian Day here in August, she was 51-1, and she knocked off Test of Faith, who's back in this field tonight, of course, when she was a big favorite.
Another horse that had plenty of gate speed and was used twice in that same Roses Are Red mile is the 11 Silver Label. Now, she does going to have to navigate through post 11, but if you have a couple horses to the inside that leave, she could end up getting some sort of a nice trip.
Yeah, that's going to be the key here. It's just when your nose is not on the gate, you really can't decipher how that trip is going to go. Now, that'll be up to driver Scott Zeron. If he can get out of there following and somewhat in contention, possibly mid-pack, he could work out a nice trip for this mare where she could be close enough to strike in the late stages, but a lot has left the chance when you're in that second tier, Jess, as you know.
Absolutely. I'm very excited for the Perfect Sting that's up next. The Open Mare Pace, a field of 11, 2-5 on Grace Hill. We'll send it back to Paul and Acacia.
Jessica and Gabe, thank you. Agreed. A very interesting field, a short price favorite. And Paul, I know you like Treacherous Dragon. Does it make you look at this one a little bit differently, hearing what Jessica said about maybe some excuses that she might have encountered?
For sure. If she was waiting for a long time and she did end up tying up or got a little funky with her movements, I think that that's definitely an excuse, and that explains part of the reasoning of her last effort, including the trip that she pulled.
And tying up with horses, basically like cramps, muscle contractions, you'll see from them, so something to be monitored. So maybe at a big price, she's one to keep an eye on. Grace Hill, your favorite, as they line up for the Perfect Sting. Here's Ken Workington with the call.
This season. 9-2 action on number 9, Test of Fate, runner-up last year. 2021 Horse of the Year. They're on gate, the 7th race, the Perfect Sting. Here they come. They're off. Kobe's GG and Treacherous Dragon, Guns Out, and Boudoir Hanover on the inside is Fed Racetrack. Those three across the track here. Grace Hill, the favorite, in between horses, and cutting the corner with Sweet Treasure on the inside, 4th now. So Grace Hill takes a seat in 5th to the quarter. Then it's In Case You Didn't Know, followed by Silver Label takes a seat in front of Michaela. At the rear we find Racine Bell, the defending champion, followed by Test of Faith way back there with Max Contract trailing 26-2. Up front, it's Treacherous Dragon and Dexter Dunn, but not for long. Grace Hill and Duck McNair sweeping up, grabs the lead. Grace Hill now taking charge over Treacherous Dragon back in that second spot. Kobe's GG third, close to the half now. Boudoir Hanover is fourth. It's Sweet Treasure on the inside, staying in fifth. Silver Label is going up sixth with Michaela. And then comes In Case You Didn't Know, getting shuffled. Racing Bells underway. And then Test of Faith and Max Contract a long way from the leader. It's Grace Hill. The ball's in her court. 54-3 for the half. Grace Hill in front. Silver Label grinds it first over on the outside, stride for stride with the pocket sitting Treacherous Dragon. Michaela on the outside, and shuffled back was Kofi's GG, fifth on the inside, stacking to the far outside. Racing Bell setting up her rally. She's just 4.5, 5 from the leader, and she's tracked by Test of Faith, and she has to fan out now as they turn for home. 3/4, 1:23-2 into the stretch of the perfect sing, and it's Silver Label. Gigantic first over effort here. Grace Hill trying to answer and quicken on the inside, and late pace from Test of Faith on the outside. Silver Label 14-1, and Scott's here on the money man in the perfect sting. It's Silver Label over Grace Hill, then Test of Faith and Racing Bell in 1:49.
Silver Label from the second tier, making a big move, gets the job done in an upset.
Yeah, this was an upset, and there was a little incident there in the stretch there as they turned for home. I mean, at this point, you can tell Grace Hill didn't have that much left.
It looks like it was the 5, Michaela, who actually clipped the wheel of another horse there in the stretch.
Yeah, and it also impacted Treacherous Dragon as well. I mean, you can take anything away from the winner in this race because the winner actually ended up coming first over into this grind.
Made a big move to the attack on Grace Hill, who had made the move to take over from Treacherous Dragon. And you could see kind of as they were coming down towards the finish, Paul, that Grace Hill was beaten.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, she still ran out a little bit to be second. And when the plugs got popped, on Grace Hill, when McNair pulled those plugs, you could see.
What does that mean?
Just the earplugs that are the horse's ear. If the driver leaves back, they'll pop those plugs. And trying to get the horse to hear, obviously, more what's around them and to get them to go again. She picked up a little bit here heading to the wire. She didn't completely pack it in, but no mistake about your winner. Silver Label from the second tier followed Grace Hill early on as well and got that seat in 6, and the judges are going to be looking at this.
And they're looking at what happened in the stretch.
Yeah, what happened in the stretch to see if there was any interference between Michaela and also Treacherous Dragon as well, and everybody else that was kind of bumped around there.
Looks like certainly, though, your winner not affected. She was clear. She was kicking away from that. And something that's interesting as far as the second tier, so only 10 kind of lining up there, and you were explaining how if there is only one on the second tier, they can choose where they want to position themselves behind the first group.
Correct. So in this case, obviously it was a no-brainer for the Connections and Scotty Z. They decided to follow the winner, and then you can see the winner there coming down the lane. And I mean, she ran because the splits were 26-2 and 54-3, and she came first over into that. And you could see a little bit of interference that went on there in the stretch. So it'll be interesting to see what the judges do decide. But she put in a good effort tonight, and she beat a good horse and a good field regardless of what happened in the stretch. And just to finish what you were saying, if there is a 12 horse or 13 horse in the race, they then have to line up behind the 1, 2, and the 3, respectively.
So just 11 here, Silver Label. They were able to choose where to position her. She gets the win over Grace Hill. She actually turns the tables after finishing second behind her last time out. So she was a much bigger price than your favorite, but not that much of an illogical result.
No, not really. And I mean, she was 14-1 in the end off that 9-2 line. So the pick 4 keeps going. Scotty Z gets himself a stakes win, and I'm sure the Connections are really, really happy.
Absolutely, a big victory here in the perfect sting and Test of Faith. She ended up finishing third, coming off that layoff as well. Bringing you Price's reactions and what's going on with that inquiry after this on America's Day at the Races.
Good Magic's gonna win his first race, and he's gonna do it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Here's Mage coming strongly down the outside. Angel of Empire is putting in his run, and there's 1 furlong to run. 2 Bills on the inside. Right a hold on Mage. Mage has taken the lead here as they come into the final 16, and it is going to be Mage to win the Kentucky Derby.
The classic sire. Experience the adrenaline-pumping, suspense-filled action of the Sport of Kings no matter where you are with Naira Bets. It's fast, easy, and secure. Download the app today and start winning with our lucrative weekly promotions, thrilling handicapping contests, and a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program. Don't just watch horse racing, be a part of the action with Naira Bets.
Ever dream of owning your own racehorse? How would you like to get in the winner's circle with the #1 harness racing partnership in the U.S., VIP Stable? There's nothing like the thrill of your horse coming down the stretch. To find out more, call VIP Stable at 877-VIP-WIN1 or visit us on the web at www.vipstable.com. Turning horse racing fans into racehorse owners. Be a winner.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
We're back on America's Day at the Races, brought to you by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. Dark in the paddock at beautiful Belmont Park. A great day of racing coming up tomorrow on Sunday. We hope you'll join us. Don't forget, you can play along with all the action over at Naira Bets. Join Naira Bets today. Use promo code BONUS200, and you could earn up to a $200 deposit match right after your first deposit. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Get started at NairaBets.com for your $200 deposit match. At the Meadowlands of the Perfect Sting, your winner was clear, the number 11 Silver Label. The inquiry sign still posted, though, Paul, as we saw a bit of commotion going on in the stretch, particularly affecting the 5 Michaela, who clipped there.
Yeah, seeing this now, again, Treacherous Dragon, I think, was the horse who came out here. I just want to make sure that one more time. I know things got a little bit tight here. Obviously, it doesn't include any of your top 3 here, but when you roll it here and you take a look at it, you're going to see Dexter Dunn was looking for room behind Grace Hill.
And it's the pink saddle towel, the horse that's a little bit keen on the inside is the 7 Treacherous Dragon.
Yeah. And did you just see right there?
And she comes out into the 5.
And Dexter just reached over there. Did you see that? Dexter reached over to Michaela, I think, to either brace Michaela or to brace himself as well, knowing that this horse was getting out.
And kind of impeding the horse, the 6, Kobe's Gigi, I think that was behind him as well.
Yeah, I think it was a fact of the horse getting really, really keen. See it on the head-on here as well. And Grace Hill was getting a little bit, I don't want to say long there, but you could see that Dexter was just looking for room. And on the head-on, you could see he just got out there a little bit, and just kind of clipped into Michaela. So it'll be interesting to see where they place Treacherous Dragon after this, because there definitely looked like there was interference.
Right, not affecting your winner, the number 11 Silver Label, the best in this spot. Going back even a little bit sooner there, and as you said, on the inside, looking for room, was the number 7, 11-4-9-8 as far as the order of finish. Again, not affecting your winner, not affecting your top 3, but particularly with the 7 Treacherous Dragon coming out into the number 5 Michaela. We'll give you the updates and what happens over at the Meadowlands, but first back over to Charlestown. We have race 5 coming up next, 7 furlongs on the main track. It's a $5,000 claiming race for 3-year-olds and upward, which have not won 2 races since January 1st, or which have never won 4. So specific conditions there. You've got 3 horses at 7-2 and the number 9 right now, Flat Cat at 5-2.
Yeah, and Flat Cat's a legitimate 5-2 shot, and here is run races fast enough to obviously win these races. Coming off a win in the 5,000, non-winners of 3 other than with their conditions that they have, and certainly fits in here. It's going to have a little trip from the outside, and for me, though, I'm on the 7 in here, Uncaptured King at 6-1. I think that for this horse, I know it looks like the horse is stepping up slightly in class, really isn't, even though it's a 4,500 to 5,000. And Christy Gazier does a great job, 11 for 50, 365 ROI, 30 in the money with sprinters, winner last time out in the last 5 years. So I think this horse is going to sit a good trip in here. The last race that this horse comes out of, the 2nd place winner came back to win. The 6th place horse ran 2nd and improved greatly, and the 4th place horse ran 3rd. And Christy just had a baby girl, too, so you always have to love that, too. She's really a cutie, so something to smile about there. And hopefully Happy Charlie will give the barn a win.
Absolutely, and we're told the number 7 Happy Charlie will be ridden by Bryson Butterfly tonight, 6-1 on Happy Charlie. There, 2-1 on Flat Cat, though, as this horse got the win last time out. Kind of that non-winners of 3 type of condition. So stepping up to the next level here and looking to keep the good form going.
Yeah, for a leading trainer there, and Ronnie Brown, who does a good job with the horses. And you know what? 3rd start off the layoff did improve off that effort dropping in class. This is the level where this horse does belong and runs its most competitive races, and certainly is fast enough and should be up on the pace.
Moving towards the starting gate, the number 1, My Candy Biz, taking a little bit of attention as well, 3-1. And again, you got a couple of horses at 7-2. Pretty wide open board if you like somebody in here.
Yeah, the horse on the rail, My Candy Biz, is shortening up from Mountaineer coming back to Charlestown. It's run okay here in the past. One thing I know about J.D. Acosta, he's not afraid to put a horse on the front end, so he'll be a little bit aggressive to try and hold for position from the rail.
If you follow racing in Mid-Atlantic, you may recognize some of the jockeys that ride at Laurel Park over in Maryland, and they come and ride at night at Charlestown.
Yeah, and you see some of them up here, too, especially like J.D. Acosta at Aqueduct at times as well.
Appreciate the hustle, that's for sure. Loading in for the 5th at Charlestown. Again, 7 furlongs on the main track here. Paul Espinosa standing by with the call.
Make way. Flat Cat. Hypnotic Rhythm. And the last one to load will be Spring the Beast. Goes in. They're in the gate. And they're off. Level beginning, My Candy Biz hustled from his inside post, out to set the early pace. He's in front by a length from 5-star Phil. Hypnotic Rhythm is away in 3rd, and Flat Cat is 4th. Uncaptured King is away in that 5th position. Spring the Beast is back in 6th. And then comes Happy Charlie, and the trailer is Long Shot Make Way as the field heads into the clubhouse turn. My Candy Biz holds his spot at the rail and has the lead by a half length from 5-star Phil. Flat Cat makes it down to the 3 path. And then comes Uncaptured King, who saves ground at the fence. Hypnotic Rhythm just behind that leading quartet, to an opening quarter in 23-2. Further back in the field, Happy Charlie moves up now into 6th. It's another 4 lengths back to Spring the Beast and 5 more to make way. So the field heads up the backstretch, and My Candy Biz continues to set the pace. 5-star Phil still 2nd. Uncaptured King tugging his way up into contention, and Flat Cat's putting in his 3-wide run as they hit the far turn. Happy Charlie follows that move as the field heads into that turn. Flat Cat has taken the lead. Flat Cat is in front. My Candy Biz tries to battle on. 5-star Phil switches to the outside, and then Happy Charlie with Uncaptured King looking for racing room just outside the 8th pole. Flat Cat to the top of the stretch in front. Happy Charlie, Uncaptured King now has clear sailing. 5-star Phil had to tap on the brakes. Here comes Uncaptured King, who sweeps past to take the lead. Uncaptured King draws off by 3, now by 4. Uncaptured King takes it in the end over Happy Charlie, then My Candy Biz, and 5-star Phil.
Number 6, Uncaptured King gets the win, making it 2 victories in a row. And it turns out he likes Charlestown.
Yeah, not only likes Charlestown, but also the drop to claimers, I think, has certainly helped this horse, too, because the last 3 efforts have been good efforts and has basically repeated his number. He's covered in mud there, too, tonight.
He took a lot of mud. On that kind of wet track over there in West Virginia. And the number 7 that you liked, Happy Charlie, I think got up for 2nd, closing widest of all late. A nice call there, but Uncaptured King with the win. This is a horse I actually remember seeing down in South Florida, one with Henry Colazzo. He's a Florida-bred 6-year-old, but again, he's found his friend, so to speak.
Yeah, he's happy being home in West Virginia.
He is.
I was ready to sing something, and I'm just not going to start.
Go ahead.
Country Roads. We were going to do like Country Roads
every week.
Yeah, every time we do this, it's like you and I. We just,
we
we always do this. So I'm not Oh, you were going to start. Did you start singing?
No,
Oh.
no, you don't want me to start
I thought
singing.
you started singing. All right. Well, whatever.
In the commercials, we will.
Okay.
Anyway, number 6, Uncaptured King. They'll probably end up on TikTok somewhere or something like that. I don't know.
You're just assuming I'm going to take video. Just assuming, because everybody knows me with pictures and videos, of course.
Back over at the Meadowlands. It's official in race 7 in the perfect sting, the number 11 Silver Label. The winner, let's go to Jessica.
Standing by with winning driver Scott Zeron. Silver Label sets a new lifetime mark, 149 in the perfect sting. I was actually going back and asking a few people, where did Scotty get away? I knew you had post 11, so tell me how the trip unfolded.
Yeah, it was a little tough. Obviously, I'm starting out in the second tier, and I followed Doug with the heavy favorite out of there, and it looked like he had to go to the front, and I really couldn't do that with him. So I had to suck it up and take back into the first turn, but being first up for that long was extremely gruesome, and for her to give me the effort she did late just meant she was in top form tonight.
I mean, Grace Hill is undefeated coming into tonight. She put up a big mile on the Roses are Red and Stakes track and Canadian record. What were you thinking coming down the lane?
Well, it was throughout the middle portions of the race. I just thought, this is a horrible trip I'm getting here. I didn't drive her really great. And then she just felt so good. So in the last turn, I was kind of looking over at Grace Hill to see how strong she looked. And then mine, I knew, felt really strong. So when I got wheel to wheel with her, I was confident mine was going to keep on going.
Nice job.
Thank you.
We'll send it back to you guys at the desk.
Jessica, thank you. Scott Zeron with the victory with Silver Label. I thought it was funny what he said, Paul. He said, I really didn't drive her very well, but got the win. I thought he did a pretty good job given what he had to work with.
Yeah, given the circumstances in the second tier. The best laid plans sometimes. They blow up at the gate.
Absolutely. Silver Label with the victory. Paul's Pick 4 ticket still alive. Got the single coming up next for everybody, so it would seem, with Bond. And no change in the top 5 after that inquiry at the Meadowlands. Coming up next, we'll have the Reynolds Memorial. We'll talk more about that 1 mile trot and the field after this on America's Day at the Races.
Cornell Ruffian Equine Specialist is a full-service equine hospital located directly across the street from Belmont Racetrack. We provide 24/7 emergency coverage. For example, that's may involve treating medical colics, colic surgery, which frequently happens odd hours of the night. On the emergency basis, fracture repair, elective orthopedics with arthroscopy and standing airway surgeries, standing tiebacks. We do tie forward surgery. I mean, there's a huge variety of services that we offer here, and we do full lameness evaluations. We have a standing MRIs. We do, once we have a lameness localized, we frequently end up doing some advanced imaging. That may be a standing MRI, that may be bone scan. We try to target every aspect of the equine need as much as possible, both from a surgical and a medical standpoint. So having that kind of access in this caliber of facility in that kind of proximity to the track is incredibly important. You know, having fast access to advanced veterinary care is paramount to making sure that these horses get the treatment they need quickly so we can get them on the road to recovery. We have a high-speed treadmill at Ruffian. You know, on the treadmill, we can exercise a horse at speed in their regular gait. It allows us to put a dynamic scope up their nose and actually evaluate the function of their airway while they're moving. And there are a lot of issues that only manifest at speed. You know, one of the research focuses at Cornell Ruffian is looking at different ways that we can promote equine safety, thoroughbred safety, and prevention of more significant injuries or breakdown injuries in thoroughbreds. Cornell Ruffian is part of Cornell University. The mission that we are trying to achieve is clinical excellence, you know, day in and day out, providing, you know, the most top-level care to our local patients every single day. And we're constantly looking at newer imaging modalities too to make sure that we continue to offer the most cutting-edge and innovative ways to diagnose equine and thoroughbred ailments.
And we're so lucky here at Belmont Park to have such a wonderful team literally right across the street. There's even a sign for horse crossing for horses to go right across the street to Cornell Ruffian Equine Specialists. And they do such a wonderful job. You know, from first experience, Paul, and so fortunate is equine health and safety is paramount here in New York.
Yeah, 100%. And it's truly a blessing to have that here and to be able to access that so quickly in the event something does happen.
So lucky to have that right there, and that piece, wonderful, an opportunity to learn a little bit more about it. We continue with our live racing action tonight at the Meadowlands. The 8th race is the Reynolds Memorial, a 1-mile trot for the 3-year-old fillies here, and 1-5 on Bond.
Yeah, I mean, she's legit, and she is the leader in the clubhouse right now when it comes to the division, and I think she's just about everybody's pick for this race in here. But there's pure hope, so. She won nicely last time out when she raced last a month ago at Philly in her debut, but that was against an easier group, going to be tough tonight.
There's Bella Macchiato, but at the price.
Yeah, solid in 2023. Hasn't missed the board yet.
She's 8-1 right now. There's the number 3, Royal Philly. She has speed.
Yeah, she's come back with a few noteworthy wins over at Vernon, the last being wire to wire in an Empire Breeders' Classic division.
Next will be the number 4, Blonde Bombshell.
Her 2023's gotten off to be good. She was able to get a check in that Sire Stakes final, so that's always good. And it was only beaten 4 against a really good horse in Special Way.
The 5 is out. Next will be the number 6, Swanky Hanover.
4 for 5 in 2023. You got 7-2 last weekend at the Meadows. She got a great trip behind the favorite, parlayed it into a win.
Here's the 7, the Wise One.
Finished second to end her season at the Big M in the Garden State Trot last year. 2023 has had some sharp tries at Plain Ridge, much tougher now.
And your heavy favorite, Bond.
Yeah, 9 for 11 lifetime now, and the other 2 times she didn't win, she finished second. So she's 8 for 8 in her last, and the lifetime mark of 151-4. She's a standout. She's in a discussion for the Hambo too. So.
Yeah, that's what you had mentioned in the discussion, to potentially go to the Hambletonian to take on the boys. That must really speak to how they feel about her, and obviously she's been terrific recently.
Yeah, and how fast she's actually been running and how she's matured as well.
A 3-year-old filly who has been running so well recently. She comes off of some nice victories, like Paul mentioned, just a terrific resume overall. Big warm-up there. They could be a big night for the Swanstead Bar.
Yeah, you know what? And he knows what he's doing behind the wheel
Yes,
of
he
one of
does.
those two. We've seen that earlier, so he's looking to pick up another one tonight. Again, it's one of those do-it-yourself kind of things, but he's been on her back for her start, so he knows what he's driving.
And He's part owner as well.
Yeah,
so that
so
makes it
it's
even more special.
Yeah, piece of everything.
Has his hands all over this one, 1-5 on Bond. She could potentially be going to face some bigger foes in the future. She's the one to beat, and here's your short price favorite. Let's check in with Jessica and Gabe.
I'm not gonna. Oh yeah. Race 8 is up next, the Reynolds Memorial. I think the talk of the town is Bond, Gabe. Of course, we were just talking a little bit off air. Aki has plenty of nice trotters in his barn, but heading into the Hambletonian and Hambletonian Oaks, he's got two of the nicest fillies this year, Special Way and Bond.
Yeah, we're starting to get Hambletonian fever, Jess, because, of course, the $1 million Hambletonian will be right here at the Meadowlands. As part of a Fox broadcast on August the 6th, you know, the Hambletonian goes for $1 million. The Hambletonian Oaks with only fillies goes for $500,000. There are a lot of smart people in this business that think maybe the two best 3-year-old trotters in the sport, both are in the Okus Fonstead barn, and both are fillies. We've got one right here in Bond. She's a huge favorite, obviously, in this race. She seems to just tower above this field. She hasn't lost, Jess, since last July. So we're nearing a year from the anniversary of her last loss. She's 9 of 11 in her career, but she's been overshadowed a bit by her stablemate, Special Way. Now, she's not in tonight, but Special Way is a tremendously talented filly. She actually was the 2-year-old trotting filly of the year last year. She's undefeated back this year at the age of 3. She made nearly $700,000 last season, where Bond here in this race made nearly $600,000. So these are two supremely talented fillies. For whatever reason, this Fonstead barn opted to give Special Way the night off, but they've got a killer here in Bond, and I'm not sure I've ever met a 1-5 or a 1-9 I didn't like, and of course, I do like Bond here as well.
It is interesting how they are keeping those fillies separated. Of course, both of them are ranked on Ken Workington's Road to the Meadowlands pace. Interesting race up next. Of course, Bond, the favorite right now at 1-5. Acacia and Paul.
She's a short price, guys, and rightly so. Bond, we'll see if she can keep that good momentum going. Kind of the universal single tonight, right, Paul?
Yeah, 100%. And I look for her to go straight to the top, or at least be second, and then pull out and go to the top by the half.
As quickly as they start to line up, anybody else you want to mention underneath?
Pure Hope is a horse that I would give a quick look at a price.
Time for the Reynolds Memorial. We'll send it up to Ken Workington.
Trotting fillies are set, ready for start. Race 8. The Mary Reynolds, here they come. And the fillies are off and trotting. The Wise One and Bond on the outside, blasting off with the Royal Filly, shooting out hard from the inside, and Bella Macchiato into the top 3 now, as Pure Hope cuts the corner into 4th position, just in front of Blonde, Bombshell, and Swanky Hanover, and the early trailer is the Wise One. So Bond has taken over the big favorite with Akis Fonstead. Bond establishes command. Royal Filly trotting in second, first quarter up in a crisp 27-1. Bella Macchiato third on the inside. Pure Hope finds her time in 4th position, followed by Blonde Bombshell, gapped a bit, and then Swanky Hanover, and the Wise One continues to trail. Single file, all following the big favorite here, 1-9. It's Bond on that long winning streak. Bond by a length and a half. Confident on the lead here with Royal Filly, 2-hole ride behind that big favorite, with Bella Macchiato trotting in 3rd, and Pure Hope is 4th. And then it's Blonde, Bombshell, and Swanky Hanover, and the Wise One, the half 56-3, just 29-2 in that second quarter. Bond intimidating the field so far. Bond by a length and a quarter. Perfect 2-hole ride for Royal Filly around the turn. Bella Macchiato staying in 3rd. To the outside, Blonde Bombshell goes in attack mode. And then it's Pure Hope on the inside. And Swanky Hanover gets going now. She's 5th on the outside and gaining. And the Wise One would have to pass them all. But it's Bond in full control in 1:26-2. It's Bond with very reasonable fractions here. Scoots off by 2 now, 3 lengths. Royal Filly in that battle for second. Bella Macchiato squeezing on through. Blonde Bombshell is full out. The name is Bond, and she is dominant. Bond wins again, 9 consecutive wins. Bond wrapped up and cruising over Bella Macchiato, then Royal Filly and Pure Hope. Bond in 1:53-1.
Bond makes it 9 victories in a row. And Paul, you had mentioned as they came to the top of the stretch, Akis Fonstead looked like he was pretty happy with where he was.
He looked like he was smiling. He had the whole world in his hands as they turned for home. It was before that, but she kind of drifted out a little bit here, which at that point I was like, oh, sweetie, get back over to the rail. He corrected her over to the rail, but she was well clear when that happened, and she's just a special girl right now. She's 9 in a row, and she's 10 for 12 now, lifetime.
And you could see that she was just traveling so easily, going so comfortably throughout the running of the race.
Yeah, the second quarter is what got it for her. 29-2, backing it down for that. That's all she really needed.
I wonder what they're saying.
We
just watched her behind the whole race.
He's saying, why bother trying to chase her
right?
for? So.
Bond, she's impressive. Paul's single comes through, still alive in the pick 4 with 1 leg to go. Bring you prices and reactions when we come back. We'll also recap the stakes action from today at Belmont Park.
Purple Haze Standard Bred Adoption Program in Oxford, New York was created in 2018 by Wanda Palacini to provide training to transition for finding homes and new careers for horses. Horses are started with groundwork and then ridden in an arena before moving on. Horses at Purple Haze are then evaluated and adopted out based on abilities and temperament. If you have a horse that you care about, or if you're looking for a great pleasure horse, contact Purple Haze Standard Bred Adoption Program at 518-669-2715.
When it comes to horse racing, you can never have too much information. With Twin Spires, you can place your bets with confidence. Whether you use handicapping insights, like our Brisnet speed ratings, prime power and past performances, the guidance of our experts' top picks, or just choose a name that catches your eye. Yes! No matter how you pick your horse, bet with Twin Spires. Start earning your $200 sign-up bonus when you sign up with offer code GET200.
Liam's Map, a 2-time Grade 1 winner with 6 consecutive triple-digit buyers, including a 114 to win the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. He's already taking the lead as a sire, with Grade 1 winners Basin, Wicked Whisper, Colonel Liam, and Juju's Map, plus multiple 6-figure yearling sales and 2-year-old sales up to $1.2 million. Proven on the track, proven in the sales ring. Liam's Map, only at Lane's End.
On the Park's 50-cent Win Early Pick 5 is one of the country's earliest Pick 5s, making it the perfect way to get your wagering day started. With a 12:40 post on weekends and 2 p.m. start on Fridays, the Win Early Pick 5 is home to 6-figure pools and a low 15% takeout. Start your day winning early. Play Monmouth Park's Win Early Pick 5. Win early, win often.
We're back on America's Day at the Races, brought to you by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net. Getting a little harder with each commercial to see the Secretariat statue in the paddock at Belmont Park. We continue on as we just saw a very special filly in the Reynolds Memorial, Bond, who has now won 9 in a row, and she did so comfortably again today.
Yeah, Aki Sponset smiling coming off the turn and getting into the lane. That 29-2 second quarter is really what backed it down and helped her out. She got a little bit out, drifting a little bit in the lane, but she was well clear and it didn't matter much. He corrected her, brought her back down to the inside, and she still leveled off and finished off just fine in this race.
Sometimes horses, when they're kind of alone on the lead, they get a little distracted too, and it almost seemed like that's what it was more than anything.
Yeah, I don't think it was anything to write home about or any kind of problems or anything. She's a special horse, and she's got some big things ahead of her.
Bond, your 1-9 favorite, delivers at a short price over Bella Macchiato and Royal Philly. The victory in race 8 at the Meadowlands. We had some exciting stakes action earlier today at Belmont Park as well. 2 graded stakes on the card. As we'll take a look at what we saw earlier this afternoon in New York in the Dwyer. It was exciting. A thriller down to the wire. Saudi Crown looking to remain undefeated, and Fort Bragg on the outside threw it down. Eventually it was John Velasquez at Fort Bragg who came out victorious.
I mean, Johnny V looked like he was loaded at the top of the stretch and was going to roll right on by Saudi Crown and Javier Castellano, and they both had different ideas. Kind of validates Saudi Crown's last race, too, with Sweet Cherry Pie and digging in and drawing clear. Couldn't do it this time, but I got to tell you, she's got fight in her when she gets headed. They both ran exceptionally well, and it kind of sucks that there had to be a loser, and they were flying in here early. It's not like they were going slow, so this was really an exciting race and a good race by both these horses.
A big performance. Fort Bragg putting the blinkers back on. You might have noticed watching his recent races, he wore cheek pieces previously. Those kind of typical Baffert, very short cup, kind of like an inch shortcut cheater blinkers on, and John Velasquez aboard. Saudi Crown, much more lightly raced, kind of the up-and-comer. Certainly did not discredit himself in his first try against Graded Stakes Company.
Not at all, and cutting the pace as well, and that pace was fast early on. 44, 108, and then Fort Bragg cruised up and fought hard down the lane all the way.
They made it exciting, that's for sure. A little bit later on in the Nehru, it was a horse with plenty of back class. 3 Technique, who we saw running a lot in New York at the start of his career, beat a pretty salty group to get back to the winner's circle and pick up the 6th victory of his career.
So happy for the connections here, too. And this horse ran so well, I think, Acacia, when you think about it. The pace wasn't, like, blistering fast, and he put himself in the race somewhat. And I think Javier gave this horse a sharp ride, and it's just, I don't want to say like it's a resurgence of Javier, because Javier's always rode well, but it's like the summer and spring and summer of Javier, and he's riding so great, continues to do so. And split horses, and Candyman Rocket looked like a winner at the top of the stretch, and this horse saved ground, got the split, and just exploded past him late. And it's funny because I'm kind of a Synthesis fan who ran second in here at a big price.
Well.
Yeah, I mean, I picked this horse when this horse won that big race on the Talking Horses that day, and I just really like Synthesis a lot. He's a cool horse, so. But take nothing away from your winner. Just happy for the connections, happy for Javier, happy for everyone here.
3 Technique coming back to New York, picks up the 2nd victory of his career at Belmont Park, and this time in the Grade 2, John Nehru, Javier Castellano aboard. Of course, Javier winning 2 out of the 3 legs of the Triple Crown this year, having a tremendous 2023, and that just continuing on with all those big victories. 3 Technique victorious. We're not done as far as the stakes action is concerned, though. This weekend at Belmont Park, we'll be back in action with some more stakes tomorrow. Of course, the Perfect Sting a little bit earlier in the card, and special racing calendar this weekend too, Paul, because of 4th of July. We're racing Monday and Tuesday. We have New York bred stakes on both of those days with Hudson Valley and the Port Washington.
Yeah, it's always great to see the New York breds in action, and Monday the Hudson Valley is always a great race, the Port Washington as well. It's going to be a great 3 days of stakes racing here at Belmont Park.
We hope that you'll join us. If you can't come out to the track, you can always watch America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports and get all of the racing action. Back over to today at Charlestown. It's race number 6 coming up next. This one is a maiden special weight for the West Virginia breds, 3, 4, 5, and 6-year-olds here in this group. So we will start things off with the number 1, Little Richie. Where's the MIG?
Yeah, I kind of, exactly, right? He should be riding him. Yeah. I kind of like this horse a little bit as a long shot look, though. 3rd start out, and does have a little bit of positional speed to hang in there. I know the first 2 starts kind of backed out a little bit, but the 2nd start was a step in the right direction.
Here's your favorite Karma Bus, blinkers on.
Some people have to ride that Karma Bus. Blinkers on. I think this horse is going to probably go to the front in here, I guess, you know, for a leading trainer.
Just missed last out, Dr. Rendezvous. There's the number 4, Last Party.
Last Party's had quite a bit of chances, was disqualified from purse money last time. It'll shorten up to the 4.5. Hasn't had much success going 4.5, though.
There's the 5, Just Juba, first-time starter.
Yeah, Juba is out of Fatapid, and we'll see what happens first time out. Not too good numbers for the trainer Elizabeth Meehan, though, with firsters.
All roads to Dennis.
Struggled in the 2nd start. The first start was better, and the slop we'll see today.
Just Call Me Al.
Yeah, my grandfather's name is Al, so maybe I'll just play the horse
for
a few dollars on the horse for it.
15 to
First-time starter, and Grant Whitaker's been riding well of late. We'll see what happens.
Here's Cider House Way, 2nd time out.
Yeah, the first start actually ran evenly in the lane, but did pick up grounds late. 2nd time out might be a little bit of improvement, something to look at a price.
Here's Getting Spicy. Looks like he's living up to his name out on the track. And then number 10, here's the Breadman.
Here's the Breadman's coming off a January layoff for Timothy Graham's. Hasn't done well with those numbers off the layoffs. Back to the 4.5 today. Maybe it's just a starting point for a horse who struggled.
That's the field for the 6th. This maiden special weight main track good over at Charlestown. You can join Naira Bets and play all the action on our program and a whole lot more while earning up to a $200 deposit match bonus. Sign up, use promo code BONUS200, and you could earn up to a $200 deposit match right after your first deposit. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Join now at NairaBets.com for your $200 deposit match. The number 2, Karma Bus, even money right now. And this one did finish third on debut. Only has the one start where you do have a few that are starting to kind of tally up the efforts already. Still lightly raced, and he is a short price getting the blinkers on.
Yeah, and comes from a leading barn that does well with the move with first-time blinkers and second start out as well. And you'd expect this horse to be right up on the pace like he was the last time out. So legitimately, even money shot making the second start of his career. I know that when you look at it, Dr. Rendezvous, they ran second and third in their last start as well. Dr. Rendezvous was actually a little bit wider in that race and kind of just missed by a neck. And Wesley Ho does a good job riding. Wesley had won a race for me years back at Charlestown.
Cool.
Yeah, so Wesley's good people, and so is Laura Carson, his wife. So I think it's good stuff.
Dr. Rendezvous, second last time out. This one was 9-5 on the morning line, 3-1 now versus the even money of Karma Bus. I think in large part when you have races like this, as I mentioned, Dr. Rendezvous has already raced 6 times. And yes, that last race was his best effort, but he's had some disappointing races at a variety of distances prior to that, whereas Karma Bus only has the one start to his credit so far.
Yeah, it's easy to gravitate to the horses with less, starts, and I do the same thing too. And I tried to make a case for a couple of the firsters in here, and I just, they're either just coming from places that just don't have good first out numbers, or the works were just not that inspiring to look at for me. And that's why I kind of just wanted to give Little Richie a shot, maybe underneath at 27-1 third start out. He picked himself up a little bit last time out. It was more of an even effort for him if you watch the race. He didn't gain ground. He didn't lose ground. He was just there for the entire race. So I'm thinking third time out, maybe he'll catch a better trip in here behind the leaders. We'll see if he's fast enough. I mean, he definitely has to improve in here based on number-wise, but at this level, against these horses, improvement can come really fast.
Yeah, you mentioned the 2 first-time starters. They're both big prices in here as well. The number 5, Just Juba. For what it's worth, the dam did win it too. She was precocious, and this is from her trainer, Elizabeth Meehan. This one is, like you said, kind of with the works, especially from the gate. He looked in the post parade like a big, lanky type of horse. I don't know if he's going to show much speed, especially going 4.5 furlongs. Could be a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah, I was thinking more like 6.5, 2 turns for this horse here, especially staying at Charlestown. But with the 4.5, again, you go back to if they're cranked a little bit or if they just sit the right trip, what exactly do they have to beat here if you're going to go past the 2 and 3?
And then Just Call Me Al. The workouts are strong enough, but as you said, not necessarily a barn you would expect to fire first time out.
No, but I do find it interesting that Grant Whitaker's riding because as of late he's popped some winners. So I think it's interesting that he takes the call here on this horse in particular. And I mean, just one other horse too. The other horse that's getting play is the 4 Last Party. And I know it was DQ'd from the purse money last time out, but piled up the starts as well. And then you look at 0 for 10 going 4.5 with the 1 second. I mean, he's fast enough to win the race, but really?
And had run against Lesser back in 2021. This is already a 5-year-old. We'll see if today could be the day. 6-5, though, on the number 2, Karma Bus, second time starting. Son of exclusive quality as they go in for the 6th race at Charlestown. We'll send it up to Paul Espinosa for the call.
Getting spicy. Last Party. 2 left to load. Just Juba. Last one in will be Here's the Bread Man. Here's the Bread Man to the outside post, goes in. They're in the gate. And they're off. Here's the Bread Man. Broke running and is vying for the early lead, but inside runners also showing speed. Karma Bus is right there, joined by Last Party, who's up in the early mix. Dr. Rendezvous in between. Here's the Bread Man is back in 4th. Up the rail comes Little Richie with Just Juba to that one's outside. Further back in the field comes All Roads to Dennis and then Just Call Me Al. Cider House Way guided down to the inside, and the trailer is getting spicy as the field hits the far turn. 22 and 2 for the opening quarter, and it's Karma Bus and Dr. Rendezvous 1-2. Dr. Rendezvous puts a neck in front. Last Party drops 4 lengths behind in third, and then comes Here's the Breadman up the rail. Little Richie with Cider House Way swinging into action, but still half a dozen lengths off of the leader. It's Dr. Rendezvous who turns them in, takes over on a 2-length lead. Karma Bus, Cider House Way storming down the center, but running out of time. Dr. Rendezvous with Cider House Way. Dr. Rendezvous and Wesley Ho take it by 2.5. Over Cider House Way, then Karma Bus, and Here's the Breadman.
Dr. Rendezvous got the win. You said some good things to say about Wesley Ho, who gets the win here with Dr. Rendezvous. Found the right spot today.
Found the right spot, put away Karma Bus, who ran okay, and did just fine for second time out with the blinkers. He went to the front on the inside, and Cider House Way definitely improved, as we talked about.
Yeah.
But it was full about my boy. Wesley Ho gets the job done. He hustles, though, and you can find Wesley in a lot of different places. Mountaineer, Charlestown, Laurel. You'll find him all over.
He finds the winner's circle today with Dr. Rendezvous. 3-year-old gelding gets the victory in start number 7 of his career. He doesn't want to pull up either. He wants to keep going.
He finally got that win. He's like, let's go around more. One more time.
This is fun. Nice victory from the number 3, Dr. Rendezvous, over at Charlestown in that West Virginia bred maiden special weight. Back over to the Meadowlands. We continue on with our stakes action. The Crawford Farms coming up next. It'll be a 1-mile trot. And some really interesting competitors we have coming up here. Question is, Paul, are we going to see a repeat of what we've seen recently from Venerate?
I think Venerate is the horse to beat in here in some ways. Of course, I tried to beat him. But I do think based on what we've seen in the past, though, Venerate, I think, is good. Dominated in that Cutler and did a career best there. Freshened up for this start. Qualified well a week ago. Has got an ideal post. Horse to beat, my opinion, in here.
Venerate 2-1. Certainly different from what we've seen in some of the earlier races with the 1-9, 1-5 type favorites. A little bit more of a wide open board here. Venerate coming in. We were on air for that Cutler Memorial victory, which was impressive that we saw from Venerate. We'll see if he can keep the good momentum going. That said, second behind him in that Cutler was It's Academic, who's 7-2 right now in the rematch.
Yeah, It's Academic, was third in that Cutler, and to me, I think had a little bit of a trip in there. But for me, again, I still think it's about Venerate more in here. Draws nicely in here, and Ake Sponstead again. Here goes that guy again. 4 of them in this race, so he's got a good shot.
He's loaded for bear, that's for sure. We welcome back in Jessica and Gabe, and a little bit more, guys, as we mentioned, of a wide open tote board in here, and several that we saw try that Cutler Memorial.
Yes, it is a wide open tote board in here, Gabe. There's 10 of them going behind the gate. 4 of them will come out of the Aki Sponstead barn. I think the question is how tight will Venerate be coming into this race tonight? Obviously, we saw him and It's Academic 1-2 in the Cutler Memorial. It's Academic's raced a few times since then. Venerate has only had 1 qualifier, but I thought they finished up very strongly in the Cutler.
There's no question about that. We'll actually take a look at that Cutler event here. 155,000 to change on the line at the Big M. Well, here's the thing, Jess. Yes, it is a 42-day layoff into tonight for Venerate, but you're about to see him roll past here in the late stages. He was 7-2 this night, and he had been off since October. So if he could get it done here in the Cutler, as you're watching right now, surely a 42-day layoff is not quite as long as a layoff since October. He's been off a long time there. He actually is with the Marcus Melander Barn. This was his debut here in the Cutler for the Marcus Melander Barn. They purchased this guy at the Harrisburg Mix Sale for $400,000 and change last fall. And really, when they bought him, they didn't know if they'd bring him back as a racehorse or if they'd just move to his next career as a stallion. Well, it turns out they started to train him down. He was doing very, very well. And here we are, Venerate making his second start back of the season.
And you saw the horse chasing him down in the stretch. Of course, that was It's Academic. He's coming off a sharp win here at the Big M in the Open.
He is. He's raced 6 times this year. He's been the favorite in all 6, Jess. 5 of those times he's been the odds-on favorite. So he's just 3 of 6. I'd like to see a little bit more. It's Academic's a horse, I'm trying to maybe beat in this spot tonight, but he's a consistent customer. Even when he loses, he's very close.
And Aki is sending out 4 horses in this race, and a lot of people are going to look at the program and think that the 6 is making his U.S. debut. That's not the case in here.
That is the truth. And yes, it has been the Oka Sponstead Sponstead show so far tonight at the Meadowlands. If you've been tuned again, we just saw Bond score there as a big favorite in race 8. Asteroid actually bred here in the States by Adam Bowden's Diamond Creek Farm over in Pennsylvania. They retained this guy. He's from a very nice mare that they have on the farm there that earned nearly $800,000, Ultimate Cameron. He raced 5 times as a 2-year-old. Didn't really show that much. They tossed him in a mix sale. He brought just $25,000 from international connections. That's a 6 Asteroid. He went overseas, Sweden, Norway, and he's just really turned into a killer. Just since selling, he's 13 of 20. So that makes his overall career now 13 of 25. And all of a sudden, here he is at his stateside return at the age of 5.
I'm excited to see his stateside return. And, of course, we talked to Sarah Sponstead earlier in the night. They're a little behind on his training. They think he's going to need a race, but they don't see why he wouldn't put up a good effort.
Yeah, that's the key. I mean, this guy hasn't raced since Thanksgiving.
Right.
Keep that in mind. That was overseas. He shipped a long way. We are not privy to his training schedule. How long has he been in the States? How much has he trained down? You know, we don't know any of that information, so we have to rely on the connections. And Sarah Sponstead was quite clear when she says she thinks he's going to need a start. So this horse is 3-1 in the morning line, and I think after hearing that, you know, the play here is maybe try and watch Asteroid closely tonight, and we'll gauge him for some future.
It is definitely a competitive field of 10 in the Crawford Farms trot. We'll send it back to Paul and Acacia.
Jessica and Gabe, thank you so much. Looking forward to it. We'll meet the field here for the Crawford Farm, starting things off with the 1 Ambassador Hanover.
I like this horse tonight. He's run fast enough races to compete with this group, and I know that he's running into some of the same horses he's finished behind, but he's got the inside post tonight, and I think if he's on his game, he could compete here at a big number.
That's the first of 4 for Aki Sponstead. Here's the number 2, Balenciaga.
Definitely a class test tonight for a horse who's been picking up checks against lesser.
It's Academic rematching with Venerate.
Won the Open nicely here last week. Beat his stablemate there. It's been solid so far in 2023. Was a strong second, you know, going out in the Cutler and stuff like that. So
Speaking of the Cutler, there's the winner, Venerate.
Yeah, that was some debut for the Milander one. We talked about that. We were on the air for that, and you know, you had to be close that night. He parlayed it into a win. So we'll see where it goes from here. But he's the horse to beat for me.
Third in the Cutler, there's Rattle My Cage.
Yeah, that was the second start of 2023. Brings a lot of backclass into this. Definitely draws nicely for this. And again, another one of those Sponstead horses.
Gabe gave some very interesting information about this one, Asteroid.
Yeah, came back and qualified, blew out that qualifying field, but we heard he might need a start. We'll see what happens. He could run all day, though, because they do run some longer races overseas.
Very interesting. 20-1 on the number 7, $100 bill. Here's the 8, Jujubee.
Looking to move forward, second start of 2023. He has to step it up, but did run third last year in a final, and it was on his game. He's got some talent.
There's the number 9, Delayed Hanover, 15-1.
Grinded out a first over win against a conditioned group. Has some stakes backlash. Big, tough horse and a tough posto to deal with tonight in a tough spot.
A tough post for this one as well, Southwind Tyrion.
You know, it's interesting. Lightly raced 5-year-old gets back here to the Big M. Came off that lifetime mark of 151, and it was in an Open in Pocono. It was only beaten like 2 in the end here, you know, in an Open. You know, the biggest problem is post 10 for this horse tonight.
Has to navigate a trip, as that is the 4th one for the Sponstead barn. I liked what you said. You said he's the Chad Brown of harness racing.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of horses in. Yeah, but the only difference is maybe Chad, you have to get on one of your horses, ride one of your horses now.
Yeah, we'll see if Chad Brown could do that tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, if Aki Sponstead can drive his horses, Chad, you can get on one of them.
That's it. That'd be great to see. There is a look at the number 4, Venerate, who's 2-1. Favoritism has actually shifted over to its Academic now. What do you make of that?
I think you can I still think that Venerate is the horse to beat in some ways. You could throw a blanket over both of them. When they ran the Cutler, we were on that night. If you remember that night, you wanted to be somewhere in the top 2, 3, or 4 to be in the conversation to winning a race. They both were. I think its Academic was certainly used more. They moved twice in that race. Gabe mentioned it earlier. You don't want to get into a position where you're moving more than once if you can help it. Twice is kind of like the max 3's asking for a lot. So Venerate made that big one run in that race. They're both solid horses. They're both solid contenders tonight.
There's a look at Gabe's top pick, the number 6, Asteroid. Again, gave some really interesting information about this one, about some of the overseas races that he was running. We'll see if he's ready to roll in this spot, as we'll go back to Gabe and Jessica once again.
Race 9, the Crawford Farms trot. Of course, it's a field of 10 like we had mentioned, Gabe. And looking at the tote board, the betting public is in the middle of the gate. I want to go over a couple other horses that we talked about. Rattle My Cage, Tim Tetrick. I mean, he only has 2 starts on the year. He doesn't have any wins, but he can power down some horses in the stretch.
Yeah, he really can. The concern just his third start back. The horse hasn't raced since May the 20th. And again, in terms of standardbred racing, that is a lengthy layoff. This horse has been off so well over a month. He exits that exact same race here in the Cutler, and he was used pretty hard. So I think we could give him a little bit of an excuse. He left the gate there. He got parked. He got a little bit of a shovel, but he did pop home okay. So this is a horse that could be flying a little bit under the radar. See him up there at 8-1 right now. I think that, he does figure in here a little better than the respect he's getting.
Yes, and I just want to get a quick comment on as well. Juju B, first start Lasix tonight, second start of the year. He was beaten last time out in an open at the Poconos, but he has plenty of back class as well. I think this horse is going to need a few starts to get into it. He's taking a little bit of tote action.
He is from post-age, just okay, was even there in his seasonal debut. He's had some issues. He's a fun horse to root for, a homebred for our friend John Erdner down at Lakewood Ranch, Florida. Trader Greg Wright Jr. Has done a great job campaigning him. In fact, he's made over $1.1 million in his career, but the recent success just hasn't been there. Just the one start this year at the age of 5. As a 4-year-old, he was only 1 for 7. Now, that was a big stakes victory down at the All Rise in Lexington at the Red Mile. But Juju B's going to have to prove that he can still step up and tackle this stakes caliber field.
And we do want to give a shout out on the $700 bill. This is a Crawford Farms owned horse. And of course, this is the Crawford Farms Open Trot. We'll send it back to Acacia and Paul. It's the Open Trot, Crawford Farms, a field of 10.
Wishing everybody at Crawford Farms the best of luck with a $100 bill. The number 7, Jess and Gabe, thank you so much. Venerate and It's Academic rematching in the Crawford Farms coming up for this 1 mile trot. Here's Ken Workington with the call.
In his U.S. debut, $155,140. Crawford Farms, FanDuel Open Trot, sponsored by Crawford Farms. Field of 10, race 9. Here they come. Off and trotting, Rattle My Cage and Asteroid leaving out of there with It's Academic early speed. Ambassador Hanover on the inside, guns out from the rail, 3 across the track here. It's Balenciaga settling in the 4th position as they head around that first turn and go for the opening quarter. Venerate is going to settle in 5th now. Asteroid is parked out 6th. Then it's a $100 bill on the inside with the Juju B and Delayed Hanover, and Southwind Tyrion is last at the opening quarter. Rattle My Cage and Teeter there in 27 flat. And now sweeping up is Venerate. Venerate and the White Knight, Brian Sears, taking charge after 3/8 of a mile. Rattle My Cage, 2nd. Ambassador Hanover is a loose 3rd at this point. It's Academic is 4th across the backstretch. Balenciaga is 5th. Asteroid 6th on the inside. A $100 bill is 7th. Then it's Juju B, Delayed Hanover, and Southwind Tyrion. They're halfway home. And it's Venerate in front there at 8-5 in 55 and 128-1 rating. Venerate in front, the Cutler winner by a length. Stalked here by Rattle My Cage, and now first up here comes It's Academic on the outside 3rd, gathering steam with Asteroid. A golden 2nd over. He's soon to be 4th on the outside. Shuffle for Ambassador Hanover on the inside, 5th as they pass 3/4. A $100 bill stacks up 3rd over on the outside, passing 3/4. It's Venerate now to ratchet up the pressure. It's Academic on the outside, 1:23 and 4 into the stretch drive, and they square off. It's Venerate. It's Academic on the outside, lets him have it. It's on the inside, still on the outside. It's Academic trying to get to and wear down Venerate in doing that. It is Rattle My Cage shaking loose late in Asteroid on the outside. It's Academic 3-1. Dave Miller. It's Academic in the Crawford Farms trot. And then came Venerate. And close, Rattle My Cage and Asteroid. It's Academic in 1:50 and 2, a stakes record.
Stakes record for It's Academic, who turns the tables on Venerate, gets the victory today in the Crawford Farms.
Nice drive by the Buckeye Dave Miller, steamrolling up there to get the job done in stakes record time and just wore down Venerate, who ran a good race here. To me, I think the race was won when It's Academic was able to pull out and go first over for me. And Dave Miller just kind of grinded up into that and still had enough to pull away late.
We saw Venerate make an early move as well. What did you see going on in the early part of the race?
I'm pretty sure Brian Sears wanted to keep this horse in the clear or not have to be in the position that Ambassador Hanover eventually ended in, which was being third, hemmed in on the rail. So made the move. I don't think it was the wrong move at the time, especially with a horse like Venerate. And it just got, I mean, they just turned the tables on each other. They ran 1-2 in the Cutler, so.
The logical horses, and 1-2 finish turns into 2-1 today. It's Academic turning the tables, picking up a big victory here. The stakes record fashion Crawford Farms in the books. David Miller, the driver for It's Academic, trained by Ron Burke. Bring you prices, reactions, and more after this quick time out on America's Day at the races. Stay with us. Just saw a nice performance at the Meadowlands. More after this.
Experience the adrenaline-pumping, suspense-filled action of the Sport of Kings no matter where you are with Naira Bets. It's fast, easy, and secure. Download the app today and start winning with our lucrative weekly promotions, thrilling handicapping contests, and a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program. Don't just watch horse racing, be a part of the action with Naira Bets.
We're back on America's Day at the Races, brought to you by Naira Bets. You can bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Get started at nairabets.com. The Crawford Farm, it's Academic turning the tables on Venerate after they ran 1-2 in the Cutler. It was the day for It's Academic, pulling away from this field nicely as well. $8.40 winner, and Paul hits the pick 4. Well done.
Yeah, it was a nice little bonus to hit that pick 4. A couple of singles that, well, single came through in Bond, and then caught the price in leg 2. So, but It's Academic helped out at the end. So, always take it. I'll always take any kind of win. You listen. You know there are good days and bad days when you're doing that.
In racing of any kind, you have to appreciate the victories. That's for sure. It's Academic at 3-1 over Venerate. Went off at 8-5. Rattled my cage, holding on for third.
Yeah, and I thought it was a good trip too, and also, you know, you got to give a little shout out to the 6 horse as well, Asteroid, because Asteroid went well too. Coming back off of that qualifier.
That was a horse Gabe liked quite a bit. Coming up next is the Dave Brower Memorial Field of 11. As we heard from Jessica and Gabe earlier, paying tribute to Dave Brower, Meadowlands personality who we lost unexpectedly back in October. And Gabe saying, I think Dave would love this race in the field assembled tonight.
100% he would love it and enjoy it and look for a price as well, because he would love these good horses coming together to knock it in a race together.
But back in the Crawford Farms, it's Academic. The driver, David Miller, as this post-race interview brought to you by Standardbred Breeders Association of Pennsylvania as we head down to Gabe.
Thanks a lot, Acacia, and I am standing by here with winning driver Dave Miller. Dave, you were able to turn the tables on Venerate tonight from the Cutler. I know he's a tough target, though, when you're attacking him first up of the lead.
Yeah, I mean, he got back to the lead, I thought, pretty easy, and I know we weren't going real hard around the last turn, but my horse, he's pretty game, and he fought hard and got the job done.
Yeah, he's actually got a win already, more than he had last season. He made over $500,000 last year at the age of 5. He's already a 4-time winner. Is it possible he's continuing to improve?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, he ended up the season really good last year, and he's come back really good this year, and I think he'll have a good season.
All right, I bet you'll have a lot of fun with him as well. That's winning driver Dave Miller. It's academic in the Crawford Farms.
We'll see what the rest of the season will hold. Gabe, thank you so much. Great to hear from Dave Miller, who knows this horse really well, too.
Yeah, Dave is great at telling you exactly what a horse needs, how a horse travels. So he's been around a long time, and he does an amazing job out there on the track. So whatever Dave says, he's probably 100% correct when he's telling you that this horse, as a 5-year-old, is getting better.
Paying tribute up next at the Meadowlands to Dave Brower with the Dave Brower Memorial. We'll learn a little bit more about his story and talk about his namesake race after this.
The Run Happies are running. The Run Happies are selling. The Run Happies are winning. Eclipse champion Run Happy is showing a new dimension with winners on turf, dirt, and all weather. A record-breaking sprint champion, Run Happy is also showing winners at all distances, burning up the tracks. A sire whose runners can carry his speed over all distances and all surfaces. Run Happy, price for value, and standing strong at Claiborne Farm.
Ever dream of owning your own racehorse? How would you like to get in the winner's circle with the #1 harness racing partnership in the U.S., VIP Stable? There's nothing like the thrill of your horse coming down the stretch. To find out more, call VIP Stable at 877-VIP-WIN-1 or visit us on the web at www.vipstable.com. Turning horse racing fans into racehorse owners. Be a winner.
Introducing a stallion, as top class as they come. In 22 career starts, he won or placed in 12 graded stakes, competing in 15 grade ones, earning over $1.7 million. His undisputed speed is evidenced by 7 100-plus Spire speed figures, a 3-time grade 1 winner, Raging Bull.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Dave Brower passed away on Friday, October 7th, 2022, while on assignment in Lexington, Kentucky. The native of Passaic, New Jersey, was only 53, and his passing was sudden and shocking. Dave was a longtime broadcaster, handicapper, and oddsmaker at the Meadowlands, and a great employee, ultimate colleague, and friend of racing. A 1991 graduate of St. John's University with a journalism degree, he was a sports editor for St. John's Today. Before becoming a broadcaster, he was a caretaker, trainer's assistant, teletimer operator, and public relations intern. A racing fan since age 10, Dave Brower worked in just about every aspect of the sport. In addition to the Meadowlands and Hambletonian shows, Brower often worked major events like the Little Brown Jug, the Red Mile Grand Circuit, and Breeders' Crown. He was a mainstay on many of the sport's biggest days. His passion was to bring harness racing to the forefront as a goodwill ambassador. He was the ultimate professional, a great asset to the business, a shining star, a gift to harness racing, and a great American. Dave Brower is destined for the Harness Racing Hall of Fame.
So fitting that this next race renamed the Dave Brower Memorial. He would have loved this race, Gabe. He loved the older pacing division. We have an overflow field of 11 in here. And, you know, it's been 6 or 8 months now since he's been gone, and it just really isn't the same.
You know, it really isn't, Jess. And, you know, you and I were on assignment in Lexington with Dave when this happened, you know, out of nowhere, you know, so to speak. And not only was Dave a great colleague and a true professional, he's one of our best friends. And it is very tough. On this night last year, Dave was right here with us working. It's very tough to lose him, not only in the sport, because he was one of the greatest ambassadors of harness racing. If you're out there on social media, he was always tweeting and Facebooking and whatnot. As Paul said earlier, he was a foodie, so he always had his food pictures out there. And, was just such a fun guy to hang out with. The Dave Brower you saw on social media, whether via Facebook or Twitter, that was the Dave Brower in real life. And so many fans did get a chance to meet Dave at his travels. And it's just, terribly sad, for all of us here. But we're so happy to have an event here that we can honor him here on an annual basis. We're happy to have his sister on site with us tonight, Laura Brower. She'll be part of the ceremonies here following the Dave Brower Memorial. But, yeah, it really is just a true tragedy. And, Dave could have broadcast anything. He could have been doing any sport. Anything out there, broadcast journalism was his degree, and he was very, very good at it. We're very fortunate on the harness racing side or horse racing in general that he chose to stick with us, so to speak. It was just a true pleasure to know him. I think you and I could both say we wouldn't be where we're at today had it not been for Dave's guidance and assistance.
Going back to the whole foodie thing, he always made fun of me. He always made fun of me for eating chicken. He said, how many times a day would you eat chicken? He always made fun of me for using the microwave. He always looked like he had fun cooking. And, of course, like you had mentioned, he made whoever sat next to him a better broadcaster.
Yeah, there's no question about that. Dave was a true, polished professional, and that really was able to come through. He did the National Hamiltonian broadcast for many, many years. Just, an excellent guy, and we're so pleased and fortunate, I guess, looking back, to have Dave beside us for so long. But it's really hard to wrap your mind around that, that he's not with us.
It really is hard to wrap our mind around it. Still, it's been since October since it happened. We're now in July, and it just isn't the same on big stakes nights without him, of course, seeing his smile going up the escalator and him waving up to you. But very happy that we're able to get a nice field of 11 here for the newly named Dave Brower Memorial. We're really looking forward to this race. Paul and Acacia.
So well said, Jessica and Gabe. Thank you so much. And yes, he is so missed, Dave Brower, and it's such a shame that we won't be able to see his smiling face at the racetrack tonight, Paul. And you had shared with me that you said he was really just one of those broadcasters that could roll with anything.
Yeah, when you work with great people, it makes it so much easier. And I'm blessed for that fact, being here, and also with everybody I work with here, but also having known Dave makes you a better person and a better broadcaster. And he just loved the sport. He loved being an ambassador for the sport. He loved to help people learn about the sport. Any question you had, Dave would answer for you. And, of course, we talked about the food aspect and how he loved the New York Rangers, and there were so many things that made Dave great and just a great person. So it's really hard to imagine having a memorial race for him. It's tough to imagine.
His legacy continues on with a special group lining up in that 1 mile pace coming up at the Meadowlands. We'll talk a little bit more about it in a moment. Back over at Charlestown, it's time for the 7th race on the card. 6.5 furlongs for the West Virginia breds, non-winners of 2 allowance. This is fillies and mares, 3 to 5 now in the number 7. Foxy Sister.
Yeah, I don't see how she can lose this race. She's going to strut her stuff. Because even if she drops 10 or 15 points, she's still going to beat this group. So
76 buyers being bigger last out. Just absolutely folds over the rest of these.
Yeah, it just absolutely rolls over them. Just a quick note on the 5. So Andre Ramgeet was supposed to ride the horse. He was schooling one at the gate this morning. He got flipped on. So thankfully, no major injuries there. His legs got a little banged up. He should be all right in a few days. So just give him a little love for that. That was from his wife and his agent, Julie. So
I appreciate that
glad he's
update.
okay, because you know what it can be like when stuff goes sideways like that. But for me, it's all about Foxy Sister in here.
Bryson Butterfly going to be aboard the number 5, Phil Murray Castle. We hope Andre Ramgeet will be back in the saddle soon. Lining up for the 7th at Charlestown. We'll send it up to Paul Espinosa for the call.
Lucky Bop steps up and in. There in the gate. Lucky Bop a little bit edgy there. Settled now. And they're off. A little bit of a misstep at the start for Foxy Sister, and the odds-on 2 to 5 favorite is last. So, True Flirt heads out for the early lead, and Love of Grace is right there, Lucky Bop, and now Foxy Sister's on the move, but caught out 4 paths off the rail. And she is going to get a test tonight to see just how good this daughter of Fibersond is. Back in 5th is Laugh Into the Bank, who saves ground, and then comes I Hear Traina Comin'. Another gap of 3 to Sneaky Link, and the trailer is Phil Mary Castle. So Foxy Sista on a mid-race blitz from last up to first. Has a nose in front of True Flirt in that run up the backstretch. It's a gap of 2 to Love of Grace, who's racing in 3rd. Lucky Bop is back in that 4th position with Laugh Into the Bank, and I Hear Traina Comin'. Another 3 to Sneaky Link, and the trailer is Phil Mary Castle as the field heads into the far turn. True Flirt and Foxy Sista 1-2 through a 47 and 3/2 mile. True Flirt, Foxy Sista's going the wrong way. Love of Grace has passed her. Lucky Bop moves up on the 4 wide side, and then Laugh Into the Bank with I Hear Traina Comin' as they hit the top of the stretch. Love of Grace to the top of the stretch in front, takes over and takes off, opens up on a 3-link lead from True Flirt. Out in the center, a late rally from Lucky Bop. 16th pole, it's Love of Grace in front. Love of Grace, late rally from Lucky Bop. Love of Grace scores by 3 over Lucky Bop. And then Phil Mary Castle and Laugh Into the Bank.
Number 3, Love of Grace with the victory. But the story here, really, Paul, is the trip that your heavy favorite Foxy Sista pulled right from the beginning.
Yeah, terrible trip getting out of the gate. Had trouble getting out and got steadied, I guess, a little bit out of it. And then just rushed up into the race down the backside. And, you know, in theory, we were sitting here going, well, maybe she's just fast enough to beat this group. But the trip is what really did her in there. She just had nothing left when they came to the far turn. And a horse like Love of Grace, who has finished 2nd a couple of times out, last few times out anyway. I mean, they're slow races, but she's been in contention. 2nd leading rider at the meet on her back, too. So
she's
been
been in good form recently. She broke her maiden back in April, and her 3 races against winners since then were solid coming into here. And it makes you kind of wonder if maybe that, I know she won by 12 last time, Foxy Sista, but maybe that figure wasn't as high. That said, she broke slowly, had to rush up. She was wide, then she was dueling. She had to overcome a lot today.
Yeah, they may want to relook at that buyer number just to see if that number was legitimate. But again, take nothing away from your winner and the connections, and it was a good win for this horse who could use it. So
Love of Grace with the victory, owned and trained and bred by Timothy Collins as well. So big congratulations to him. Certainly a big victory for owner, trainer, and breeder there back at the Meadowlands. Pay tribute to Dave Brower with the newly renamed Dave Brower Memorial, the 1 mile pace here. Taking a look at the field of Buckbet Hanover, 6-5 right now, as this one we saw win the Mohawk Gold Cup recently.
yeah, so a Buckabet Hanover was going to win that race anyway, but there was a little incident in the race, but a 2-for-2 start to the 5-year-old campaign. That was a nice win. 147-2 in that Mohawk Gold Cup. Came storming home in 25-4. There was some late chaos in the race, in that race, but you know what? This horse is a really good horse. And taking a look at the race that we're looking at now, I mean, realistically, this horse is looking to pull almost the same trip in here and just kind of steamroll by down the lane. Running down a horse in Billy Clyde, by the way, who's a huge number in here tonight, who I'm actually giving a look to as well. So these are 2 nice horses that are throwing down here. A Buckabet Hanover got the better of Billy Clyde that night.
He did. That was back in May. It was even money that day. He's your favorite right now. As Paul, we saw you hit the pick 4 earlier. You got another ticket for us here?
I do. I'm going to start 4 deep in here as well. So I'm going to start this one off by using 4 horses. And it's all going to start with the 3, the 5, the 8, and the 10 here. Of course, if Buckabet Hanover is a horse I'm going to use in here. Figures off that win in the Mohawk Gold Cup. Stormed home fast in that race, realistically. Ruthless Hanover, another horse that I'm going to use in here as well. For me, with Ruthless Hanover, looking at the trip that this horse pulled last time out, I think this horse is a little bit better than what was shown. So I'm going to give this horse a shot in here tonight. Now, Billy Clyde for me is the horse that I'm looking at a price. If you take a look at the race that this horse pulled last time out, broke in the Gold Cup, which led to that incident up at Mohawk, which thankfully everybody was okay. But you know what? Has run well, needs to get back to that form, and has races that are fast enough to get there for it. My single in the 11th race is Christchurch. This horse, I'm not giving up yet on this horse. This horse last time out didn't pull the right trip in the North America Cup that he wanted to pull. Tonight, I think he makes that one run. he gets the job done. And then as we get into the later races, a couple of horses I just wanted to touch on. Save America in race number 12, 3-1 on the line. Drops in class after finishing 5th in that North America Cup. It's a big drop. What Stanley's got at 6-1 was an 11-1 upset winner, 2 back. So that was making the U.S. debut, too. Then ran 3rd last time against Similar. And in the last long shot play for me, the number 1 Little Bearcat hasn't really lived up to what you should be at 2023. Should be a little bit better tonight off the layoff. And the 6 Natasha is a versatile type that I think they can use really in any sequence tonight. Gabe, what do you got as far as your pick 4?
Well, I'm going to go similar here, Paul. I'm going to try and shorten up and single right here this Dave Brown Memorial. A buck up at Hanover. As you mentioned, he's 2 for 2. I think this is a different horse. He has been, really towering above the top free-for-all pacers. I know there's some tough customers in here. I know you used the 3 Ruthless Hanover. He's actually the fastest standardbred in the sport this year with that 146-3 win, the Joe Augert Harris filly. But I think there's so much early speed in this race. I think a buck up at Hanover and Andy McCarthy are going to be able to let this race come back to them. I see them in the outer flow here, possibly 2nd over, 3rd over, and I think they're going to be able to pounce in the late stages. So I'm going to tee him up here as a single. He's even money on the board right now. I'm not sure he merits that type of attention in such a shootout field. Next leg, I'm going to go 2 deep. I do like your choice there, Christchurch. I'm also going to toss in Ammo. He was the Breeders' Crown champion last year at the age of 2. That's sort of the harness racing's Breeders' Cup. He's trying to regain his form here at the age of 3. But those are a couple of Meadowlands Pace eligible horses. We'll see the Meadowlands Pace here at the Big M in a couple of weeks. So those 2 horses gearing up for that, of course. In that 3rd leg, I do like Save America, as you mentioned. He's a 3-year-old. He's taking on a little older company here, though, for the first time. He's raced against only 2- and 3-year-olds so far in his career. Tonight, older company. I'm going to toss in the 2 as well. He loves to win. He's 8-1 in the morning line, I believe. He's won over a quarter of his lifetime starts. So I'll look for him to track, stay close, and we'll toss on the 2 mares here in the last leg. The 6 Natasha, who you mentioned, the 7 of Vlar Duara. So we'll try and close that here. Just a cheap base play, guys. My $1 combination just worth $8. I'm going to play that 4 times for $32 total spend.
I like it. Best of luck, Gabe. Gabe going to rip the Band-Aid off right at the beginning and single. By the way, those ponies look very fancy.
Yeah,
with
they
glitter.
were looking sharp out there.
I know.
Yeah.
Well dressed for the big night.
Yeah, underneath the lights. Shimmered nicely.
I love
looking
it.
sharp.
We'll meet the field for the Dave Brower Memorial, starting things off with the number 1, Lose Pearlman.
1 of 4 for Ron Burke. You thought I was going to say Swanstedt. I'm not. So 4th last time out versus as the favorite in Philly. His previous stake experience to draw and is moving up in class tonight.
Next will be for you Tommy Shelby fans, a Red Right Hand.
Yeah, it hasn't shown much since that 150-1 open win earlier this season. Has to step up against this group tonight with Scotty Z to have a chance.
Gabe mentioned the big win back at Philly for the 3 Ruthless Hanover.
Yeah, that was a world's record, 146-3, 3 back. So then made a break after that, settles for 2nd and open, draws inside, look to control.
History-making win back at Fort Erie for Lochinvar Art. We'll talk more about that one in a moment. There's the 5 Backstreet Shadow.
Broke at the start in that aforementioned battle of Lake Erie, and then last time didn't get much going in the open.
There's the number 6. This is the plan.
Didn't get the trip that he kind of needed in that Battle of Lake Erie. Looked a little uncomfortable. He's had success, though, in the past in stakes. I just have to ask if he runs better on smaller tracks.
Another masterpiece there in the background. Next will be your favorite 6-5 on the number 8, a buck up at Hanover.
As Gabe said, I said 2 for 2 to start that 5-year-old campaign. 147-2 in the Mohawk Gold Cup, coming home in 25-4. He's sharp, and Post 8 doesn't scare me with this horse.
Big price on Billy Clyde if you like him to turn the tables.
I like this horse tonight. He broke in the Gold Cup, but you know what? Before that, he had solid form prior. He runs well here, and he has fast races that can compete with these horses.
Taking some attention, here's Tattoo Artist.
Razor sharp right now. If you look at the races, he was nosed out in 147-2 and the send it in, and then won in 148-2. So, was 2nd, excuse me, at 148-2. So he's stuck on the outside, but he's a player.
And there's Working on a Mystery.
That was a solid time at Philly last time out. It was against Softer. He's way up in class, and now is the 2nd tier as well, so it'll be interesting to see who he follows. But he does have a bit of state class to fall back on.
Wanted to go back to that horse, the number 4, Lochinvar Art, back on June 10th. No matter what kind of racing you were watching, it was a really special and history-making day, particularly for women in the sport. We saw Jenna Antonucci become the first female trainer to win a Triple Crown race in the Belmont Stakes with Arcangelo. And here in the Battle of Lake Erie, Lauren Triton became not only the first driver to win the race, but the first female driver to participate in the race.
Yeah, a lot of history was made here. And you know what? You got to give a lot to to both Lauren and the horse, because that horse spent a shade of 3/4 of the race parked out and kicked on late with a strong finish. This horse, on its best day, can more than compete in a race like this.
A special win, that's for sure. Let's go back to Jess and Dave as we get ready for the Dave Brower Memorial.
Very much looking forward to this Dave Brower Memorial. Gabe, 11 horses in here. The favorite on the board, a bucket bet Hanover, 2 for 2 on the season. But this is what I really like about this colt this year. We saw him as a 3-year-old here in many major stake races, as well as a 4-year-old. And they always tried to race him from off the pace, which he still can do if you look at that qualifier, or excuse me, the Gold Cup last time out. But we have seen some speed worked into him this year, which I absolutely love with an outside post.
Yeah, we discussed this a little earlier, Jess. When you have 11 starters, that puts one behind. They're in the second tier. This is only a 10-horse gate. So, if you take back from one of those outside posts, you really put yourself at such a disadvantage. You're going to get away 9th, 10th, 11th. It's just too much ground to mathematically overcome. So, really, this is going to be a chess match off the gate, because the 8 of Bucket Bet Hanover could certainly leave. Obviously, he's the favorite of this spot. The 9 Billy Clyde and the 10 Tattoo Artist, they both have wicked speed as well. I just don't think these horses on the outside are going to want to get away that far back. You've got Ruthless Hanover, who the guys just mentioned there off that win at Philly. I know Paul likes quite a bit there from post 3. You know he's going to push forward off the gate. I mean, I think this is going to be a true shootout into the opening turn. How's this race going to set up? I think it could set up with a wild pace scenario, which, of course, if that's the case, you have to look sort of towards some of the closers. Of course, I think a Bucket Bet Hanover could float away, get away somewhere mid-pack is the favorite here. And then Lochinvar Art, who Keisha just mentioned there, Lauren Triton there on that, historical day of the sport of horse racing, got it done in the Battle of Lake Erie from off the pace. She could set up a similar type trip here tonight, and she's up there at 7-1.
I want to go back to Ruthless Hanover. I think people are a little bit afraid of that break 2 back in the Battle of Lake Erie. I think he just left the gate too hard. That first turn at Northfield comes very fast, and those were some very nice horses in there. Thought it was a very good effort from post 8 last time. He's parked 25 and 3 to the quarter before he ever made the front. And he just got beat there by a head to Nata Mary, who's been racing in the opens here and at Tioga. So I think 7-2 is a very good price on him.
Yeah, it really is. It's right at the morning line price, but I'm like you. I just did not see even money out of Bucket Bet Hanover. That is just so short in such a deep group here at a big field. I'm like you, Ruthless Hanover, a couple of starts back there. I thought he just paced off his feet. I think he was just trying to get into gear a little too quick. He had a perfect excuse last time, as you said, 25 and change, 52 and change. I mean, my goodness, those are almost thoroughbred fractions, Jess, here at the Meadowlands. So he had every excuse to stop there after being used so hard, but he fought valiantly all the way to the finish. You said he did get beat, but it was only by a head. And he did all the heavy lifting in that race. He was on the front end the entire way, taking the pressure.
Plenty of speed from the outside of the gate. If you know one thing in harness racing, that is Tattoo Artist can leave the gate.
Oh, he's going to leave the gate 100. Dexter Dunn, he's been the 4 consecutive years driver of the year in North America since arriving from down under. Dexter is going to map out, I'm sure, whatever he sees possible here for Tattoo Artist, but he's not going to be able to take back tonight. He'll start from that extreme outside post. Look at the respect he's getting up there, Jess, right now. Nearly the second choice, 4-1. The fans confident, but that's going to be such a tricky assignment from that outside starting slot.
We saw Jiggy Jog win on the front end. Silver Label and It's Academic both came a huge first over grind. It'll be interesting to see how this race shapes up.
Yeah, and that's, pace makes the race, as we say, whether it's a thoroughbred race or a harness race. And, that's going to be the key here. If they get down there with some quick fractions, let's say 25 and change at the quarter, 52 and change at the half, that's really going to tee up a closer. Now, having said that, everyone that's participating in that race, they look at the program just like we do. So these guys all think there's a ton of speed in the race. Sometimes when that's the case, guys will get a little cautious. They don't want to be caught up in a war, so to speak, at the opening turn. So sometimes you could almost overthink things. Let's see what happens here. This is a shootout. It is the first annual Dave Brower Memorial for our good friend, our great friend, in fact, Dave Brower. We're so happy to honor him, guys, is this blockbuster field of 11 heads in behind the starting gate with a Bucket Bet Hanover still holding favoritism here at even money. We're going to send it upstairs now. Ken Morganton with a call of the Dave Brower Memorial.
7-2 action on 3, Ruthless Hanover, and the 10 Tattoo Artist also at 7-2. They're ready for start. Race 10, the Dave Brower Memorial. Here they come. Rough gated was Billy Clyde. And they're off. This is the plan. And Tattoo Artist blasting off on the far outside. Lochinvar Art leaves hard. So does Ruthless Hanover on the inside. It's those three into the first turn. Then it's Luz Proman who cuts the corner in 5th position. A buck a bet Hanover going up 6th. Then working on a mystery 7th on the inside. Followed by Red Right Hand and Backstreet Shadow. And then it's another masterpiece. And after a tardy beginning, Billy Clyde trails opening quarter. How about that? 25 and 2. Bang! It's Tattoo Artist who takes the lead. Tattoo Artist settles down. Ruthless Hanover regains with that give and go move. This is the plan tightening in from 3rd now. Lochinvar Art is 4th and decision time coming up. A buck a bet Hanover uncovered 5th on the outside. Stride for stride with Luz Proman. And then it's Red Right Hand on the outside. Stride for stride with Working on a Mystery. And then it's another masterpiece on the inside with Backstreet Shadow and Billy Clyde. Half 52 and 4. Dazzling. Ruthless Hanover in front by 2 now and going well with 3 to go, and he's trying to give them the slip. Tattoo Artist left in his wake 2nd. Uncovered Lochinvar Art on the outside, stalled 3rd. This is the plan with no racing room in 4th. And 2nd over, a buck a bet Hanover has to come 3 wide right now. But Ruthless Hanover turning on the Jets in front by 3/4. 19 and 4. Wow! They turn for home into the stretch. Ruthless Hanover and Tetrick by 5. A buck a bet Hanover gets going late on the outside. And full out is Tattoo Artist. The others for minor spoils. Ruthless Hanover going for it all here. It's Ruthless Hanover and the clock in the Dave Brower Memorial. And then it's a buck a bet Hanover. 146 and 4. Ruthless Hanover. And then a buck a bet Hanover.
146 and 4. We heard Gabe say it was going to be a hot pace, and that it was, but there was no catching Ruthless Hanover, who was flying away from this field.
The Bionic Man took no prisoners in here. 25 and 2, 52 and 4, 119 and 4. Then wrapped it up in 146 and 4. What a race, what a horse, what a tribute to Dave Brower. And you know something? I got to give props not only to the winner, but to a buck a bet Hanover who never saw the inside part of the track. I mean, was too wide basically the entire journey before flipping off cover, and it was a long way back to the rest of them.
Yeah, he put in a late run, could not catch the number 3 Ruthless Hanover. Looked like he might be starting to get a little bit late coming down to the finish, but he was clear. Ruthless Hanover, he went fast, and he did it brilliantly tonight. Tim Tetrick, you could see, I mean, he was trying to get him to relax a little bit, but this horse had a lot in the tank.
Yeah, he had a lot going for him. And then I think when he realized how fast he was going and didn't want to get in his way, Tim just said, let's go, pop the plugs. And yes, people will say, maybe he got a little short in the last rides. He was long gone, and that was some hole in the wind that this horse ran and was just a tick off the 146 and 3 that he ran. That's at the record in the Joe Odger. So props to everybody that was involved in that. That was a great race and a great tribute to Dave. He would have loved it.
I'm sure he would. Big performance from your winner, the number 3, Ruthless Hanover, holding off your favorite, the number 8, a buck a bet Hanover. Bring you prices and reactions and more after this on America's Day at the Races. Stay with us after this quick break.
Become a member of the United States Trotting Association and take advantage of special benefits including pathway savings, member pricing on American Horse Council publications, and discounts on products and services and so much more. USTrotting.com is where you'll find entries and results from all the racetracks and get behind-the-scenes stories as the USTA visits farms and stables before major races such as the Hambletonian, Little Brown Jug, and Breeders' Crown. It's easy to join. Fill out the new member form on our website or call our member services department at 877-800-USTA.
better catch those T-shirts. The T-shirt cannon firing away. I feel like we're at a big game night there, pulling out all the stops. You're watching America's Day at the Races, brought to you by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. I wonder if they caught any of this.
Yeah, really. Like, shoot one over here.
Right? There's the number 3, Ruthless Hanover, victorious in the Dave Brower Memorial. And what a performance from this 6-year-old gelding tonight.
Yeah, out of some beach somewhere, was a great horse in his own right, and this was a good performance and a nice 3-to-1 price on this horse as well.
3-to-1 over the number 8, a Buckabet Hanover was a long way back to the rest of the field. The number 2 at a big price, Red Right Hand, holding on to third against the rest of that group in there. But Ruthless Hanover, a quick time and just continued to kick away, and you could tell coming towards the finish that he was clear. He was done here.
Yeah, and a Buckabet Hanover, too, was no slouch in here because if you think about it, he didn't get beat by much, and he ran 147, basically. So he ran a fast time, too, and never saw the rail on the track. So
Gabe and Jessica doing double duty with trophy presentation in the winner's circle as well.
happy group. I see everybody down there, and the horses.
Great to see, like you said, such a special tribute to a really special man.
Yeah, and especially with Dave's family there tonight, too. His sister has been very active on social media and answers a lot of the posts and everything. And she answered a couple of things that I had posted, and I know other people have posted, too, and it's really sweet. And one thing that really got to me a little bit was also with Dave's cat. Dave Little and Debbie Little took Dave's cat, Diva, and it's funny to see the post because they kept the social media post going as well.
Oh, that's really sweet.
So I think that's really sweet as well.
A very fitting tribute, that's for sure. As we'll head down to the winner's circle, this post-race interview brought to you by Standard Breeds of Standard Bred Breeders Association of Pennsylvania. As we head down to Jessica.
With winning driver Tim Tetrick. Now, Tim, this obviously was the first edition of the Dave Brower Memorial on social media platforms this week, Tetrick Racing, so that you were so happy to be a part of it. Such an unfortunate loss to our business, but a great way to honor him tonight.
Yeah, terrible. I'm missing him every day, and I'm just glad I got to win the first annual Dave Brower race. It means a lot. It really does. He was a really good friend.
And a really good guy to our sport, of course. Loved social media, loved the business. But let's talk about this horse. He went 46-4 over at Harris, Philadelphia about a month ago. They went to the Battle Lake Erie, made an unfortunate break there in the first turn. We saw him here last week get beat, but, I mean, he couldn't be any sharper tonight.
No, he raced really good. Missed a week, and there was a few issues he had, and Tommy and the crew did a great job to fix it. So today, and we had the better draw today. Last time we had the outside draw, and everybody left underneath us. It took us a long time to get there, but I know the times were kind of the same, but it was much easier for me to do it.
Let's talk about going into that first turn. Gabe and I were talking about it pre-race, and, we thought it was going to be a shootout out the gate. Plenty of speed throughout the entire gate. You just kind of let things settle before you move to the front.
Yeah, Jess, I just wanted to make sure I had control and make sure everybody knew that I wanted to cut it. And, Dex's horse is super fast, and I figured he'd want to follow me, and we got the rest of them in the holes. So from then on, it was just go time.
Nice job, Timmy.
Thank you very much.
We'll send it back to you guys at the desk.
Jessica, thank you. Ruthless Hanover with the win, and a special blanket there in the Dave Brower Memorial for Ruthless Hanover. Tim Tetrick talking about the draw today, how that was more beneficial for him to get the kind of trip that he wanted.
100%. And also how he sat a good trip today. They fixed the little issues, as Tim said, that were nagging him for the week that they were off. It all added up to a big victory tonight. It'll be interesting to see where this horse goes from here, because there's a lot of races where this horse can go from here.
We thought it was going to be a quick pace, and that it was. Ruthless Hanover with the win in the Dave Brower Memorial. More from the Meadowlands after this on America's Day at the Races.
Purple Haze Standard Bred Adoption Program in Oxford, New York was created in 2018 by Wanda Palacini to provide training to transition for finding homes and new careers for horses. Horses are started with groundwork and then ridden in an arena before moving on. Horses at Purple Haze are then evaluated and adopted out based on abilities and temperament. If you have a horse that you care about, or if you are looking for a great pleasure horse, contact Purple Haze Standard Bred Adoption Program at 518-669-2715.
Summertime in New York. It's easy. Easy to plan. Easy to please everyone. Easy to get excited. easy to get away. It's easy to love New York. Plan your summer getaway at iloveny.com.
Hey, horse players, check out Canterbury Park, racing now through September 16th. Canterbury Park offers 10% takeout on the post-time pit 4 and late pit 5 every racing day. That's the lowest takeout in the nation. 10% takeout, come play.
There's a big, bold, beautiful world waiting to be explored by you and your friends, of course. But not just any friends, the best of friends. The kind of friends who let you do you. Because in this world, it's positive vibes only. And when you get in the zone here, you stay a while. These aren't just good times, they're the best of times. And your time is now. So come explore. Resorts World.
We're back on America's Day at the Races. So glad to have you with us on this big night of racing over at the Big M. Thanks for joining us on this evening's program. As we turn our attention now over to Charlestown, the next race of the evening coming up. It's race 8, a mile and 16th in the allowance for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward. And Paul, you have kind of the theme of this upcoming race at Charlestown is you have a lot of horses stretching out in distance.
Yeah, I was thinking about that when I looked at this race. And, you know, remember, when you're going a mile and 16th at Charlestown, you're going 3 turns.
3 turns, yeah.
So it's not a 2-turn race, it's 3. So you kind of have to look at those 6.5, 7 furlong races and see where you want to go. Ultimately, I ended up on the 4 Seneca Rocks in here for Javier Contreras. Wesley Ho is up. I thought that this horse has faced a little bit better, has been getting bet. Last time out, I think you can make a little bit of an excuse. It was first off the layoff, ended off being a little bit wide. Did finish up okay. I think today projects a little bit better of a trip. I think it's going to be a little bit closer up to the pace as well, so I think that's going to help her in this spot. And I actually like the 1 for second in here as well.
And the number 4, Seneca Rock, she does have that race back in November going a mile and 1/8 where she finished second, beaten just ahead in some West Virginia stakes company. So she has shown the ability to go further distance. And the number 1, Catalima at 14-1, a nice price. The favorite, though, the 2, Divine Fashion, who will stretch out in distance, has been running some quick figures.
Yeah, definitely has the best figures in the race. Goes out for a trainer who's super sharp, and Anthony Farrier, who's winning a lot of races there, and draws the leading rider as well, who's been on her back for quite a number of races. So I think she's a type of horse, though, that she's going to sit a little bit off the pace as opposed to some of the others who stretch out who might want to try and get the lead.
Race 8 from Charlestown coming up next. And we'll send it up to Paul Espinosa for the call.
Seneca Rocks. X-rated. And the last one in will be Grace's Secret. Grace's Secret to the outside post is in. There in the gate. Grace's Secret acting up there. Settled now. Like an assistant starter stepping in on the horses towards the inside there. And they're off. Good start. Back Street Affair is showing speed, and there goes Seneca Rocks. The West Virginia bred shares the lead with fellow West Virginia bred Castle of Cayley as they bend around the far turn for the first time. Then comes Divine Fashion. The favorite settles in that 3rd spot, and now Back Street Affair is alongside of her. Grace's Secret caught a little bit wide from her outside post around that first turn, about 3 or 4 paths off of the rail. Catalima saves ground at the inside, and then comes Breadman's Rosebud. The back 2 are X-rated and Star Rules. So they come by us for the first time. And up top, it's Seneca Rocks with Castle of Cayley, a measured first quarter in 24-3. So Wesley Ho going to work on backing that pace down. Castle of Cayley tries to keep her honest with Divine Fashion hot on the leader's heels from third. And then comes Backstreet Affair racing in fourth, another gap of 2 to Catalima, who's joined by Grace's Secret racing in sixth and about 5 lengths off the lead. It's another gap of 5 to Breadman's Rosebud. And then, let's see, Star Rules, and having lost the rider at the back of the pack, was X-rated. An X-rated dropped Arnaldo Boca Chica, who is up on his feet and appears to be okay there on the clubhouse turn. So we sort them out with 3 furlongs to go, opening half in 49-3. Seneca Rocks is in front. Castle of Cayley still right there in Divine Fashion, right behind them as they head into the far turn. Backstreet Affair is back in fourth, another gap of 5 to Grace's Secret, and then Catalima and Breadman's Rosebud. They are 3/16 from home. Castle of Cayley has moved up to take the lead. Castle of Cayley at 55-1 to the top of the stretch in front. Divine Fashion now set down on the outside. Seneca Rocks battles on bravely at the rail. Castle of Cayley in between. Divine Fashion over the top and Seneca Rocks. Here comes Divine Fashion, who levels off late and is wrapped up in the end. Draws off to win it by 3 easy lengths. It was a good battle for second. Seneca Rocks and Castle of Cayley right there all the way around the track, then Backstreet Affair. There will be a steward's inquiry looking into the incident around the clubhouse turn.
Your favorite, the number 2, Divine Fashion with the win. And as you heard in the race call, the number 8, X-rated, did part ways with apprentice jockey Abnel Boca Chica. And hearing from Paul Espinosa's call, he was on his feet. We saw the loose horse, the number 8, X-rated, cross the wire. That's what's most important, seems that horse and jockey are okay.
Of course, 100%. And your winner, Divine Fashion, as we talked about before the race, sat the trip that we thought the horse was going to sit and ended up being much the best. Seneca Rocks, I thought, ran very well for second and coming back.
Had pace pressure the whole way.
Yeah, hounded every step of the way by Castle of Cayley, who hasn't really shown that kind of speed to the quarters and the halves. Did show some pace a while back on a mile and 16th, but slower. But make no doubt about your winner, Arnaldo Boca Chica on the winner.
Divine Fashion in the catbird seat, so to speak, coming off of that second place finish last time, outstretching out in distance. The first time to go this distance as well, but she got the right kind of setup today. This 4-year-old filly by Divining Rod with the victory. Back over to the Meadowlands. We have race 11 coming up next. It's a 3-year-old open 1-mile pace is our next order of business. Christ Church, 3-5 right now. You're single, Paul, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I'm still high on this guy despite the fact that he didn't fire his best in the North America Cup final. I think he's a solid play in here tonight, and right now the bettors agree.
We'll meet the field, starting things up with the number 1, Handle Like a Porsche.
Was second in the early legs of the New Jersey Sire Stakes, but was 7th in the finals. Been away for a month. It's tough when you're away for that long against this kind of group to compete.
Big prices on the inside, too. Next will be the number 2, Storm Along, another long shot.
You know, this horse, though, did pick up a check in the North American Cup of Limbs, didn't get into the final. Kind of got used hard early and ended up 4th last time. Still be a shock, though, in this group.
There's the 3, El Rey.
Yeah, ended 2022 strongly. 2023 hasn't been that great so far.
Ammo, the 4.
2023 has been a good start. 2 wins, 2 seconds, but let's be real, he had no shot from post 10 in the North America Cup. He draws better tonight, and we'll see what happens with Purple Jesus in his back. I was going to get you with that. I knew it.
You knew. Yes, you did. We had to search for him, but the 5 combustion went by. There's a favorite, Christchurch.
Yeah, he just didn't fire his best in that North America Cup final. His 2023 debut was a good one, though. He's tuning up for the Meadowlands pace in a few weeks.
Number 7, Ken Hanover.
Bled last time out at Philly, so they had Lasix for the qualifier. I think it helped. He kicked home pretty fast, 25-3. 4 in a row, though, before that, so he's going to get it rolling again.
And Mamba.
149-3 was impressive here, too, back at the Meadowlands. Last time out faced tougher, ended up in 4th. This is even tougher tonight, has the outside draw, big price.
And Paul knows I love hearing all the nicknames of all the drivers in harness racing, but let me hear me out. Why isn't Purple Jesus driving Christchurch? Now that would be a hunch bet.
You'd have to talk to the Kiwi, who was Dexter Dunn.
The Kiwi.
See how that goes. Or talk to Nancy Tactor. Either way, you find out what's going on.
I love it. Even money on Christ Church. Gabe and Jessica, we're learning all the nicknames. I love it.
It is quite fun here. Of course, they call it Double D, Dexter Dunn, Christchurch. Kind of ironic there being from New Zealand in a city from down under. And speaking of, that is your top choice in here. I do like Christchurch. I went elsewhere, though, Gabe. But Christchurch, when we saw him come up here at the Big M in his first start of the season, boy, did he put on a performance.
Yeah, it was eye-opening in that start. Was the favorite there. Dexter Dunn aboard. Got the job done. Nancy Tacker's been quoted, of course, Christchurch's trader, saying she thinks this 3-year-old has the speed to go with any of the top 3-year-olds in North America. Obviously, he's trying to get back on track here at a 3-year-old open event tonight. He's a deserving favorite in this spot, Christchurch. So we'll see. I think he's had his issues at times. It's just about, keeping his mental game on board. Well-bred colt, though. He's a son of Always Be Mickey. At one point in time, Jess was the fastest standardbred of all time. That record was only broken last year by Bulldog Hanover right here on this very show at the Meadowlands. So he's really got a nice sire. The dam is a millionaire, Darling on the Beach. So this guy has a powerful pedigree and has a license to be a real horse.
Actually, Nancy campaigned Darling on the Beach, one of her favorite horses, and of course her dad, Jimmy Tachter, had Always Be Mickey when he broke that world record down in Lexington. My concern about Christchurch is, yes, we have seen him mind his manners, but he can get a little rank on the racetrack. We saw him here going up the backside. Dexter did everything in his mighty to try and let that horse go, and he couldn't quite do it. And I really think Dexter's a good fit for this horse.
Yeah, he is, because Dexter can keep a horse cool, calm, and collected. When you've got, horses have different attitudes, just as people do. Some horses that are out here on the track, you want to sort of rev them up, get them geared up, almost put into their head that they're about to race and get them cranked up. When you take a horse like Christchurch, he comes to the track already pre-cranked, so you do not need to get him riled up. So Dexter's job out there right now, as these horses are scoring down, try and keep Christchurch just cool, calm, relaxed, and collected. That way that, his head is still in the game when they go behind that starting gate.
So we obviously have Big Meadowlands Pace coming up on July 15th. 7 of these horses are Meadowlands Pace eligible, including Ammo. Go back to that North America Cup elimination. I thought he was really good in that elimination. The final, it really didn't work out for him. That first thing I know, David's pushing off the gate from post 10. Next thing I know, he's parked 7. So it really did not work out in his favor.
Yeah, well, pushing off the gate from post 10 sounds good until everyone pushes off the gate
underneath
inside of you. Then it becomes a little tricky. Yeah. So really, he was sentenced to just a tough order there from that outside post in that $1 million race last out. When he drew that badly, he just had his work cut out for him. But he was the Breeders' Crown winner last year, as we mentioned a little earlier here. That's sort of harness racing version of the Breeders' Cup. He was a 52-1 upset winner of the Breeders' Crown, but I know trader Joe Holloway is behind this colt throughout. And he's a horse that's really looking to stamp himself as one of the top sophomores in the sport as well.
El Rey is also Meadowlands Pace eligible post 3 tonight. And I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit disappointed in this guy. I thought he qualified tremendous. That second qualifier where he qualified in 50-2 by 12 lengths, home 26 seconds. He come back and race the next week. He finished second behind Once in My Lifetime. I thought maybe that qualifier took a little bit out of him, but he's not really been on the right track since. I thought the 2 starts ago in that elimination from post 8 was much better, but still a little bit disappointing.
Yeah, and I'll tell you how good that qualifier was. His driver, Scott Zeron, who's back at the bank here tonight, he also drives the North America Cup winner. It's My Show. Now, after that qualifier, he was quoted telling a couple people he thought El Rey was a better colt than It's My Show. Of course, just won a $1 million race. Now, since that point, El Rey has just not really come back to himself that well. I'm like you, we just continue to expect a little more from this guy. I know the connections have been confident in him, but he just hasn't fired back with that ability. He missed the final of the North America Cup. He had to race in the Consolation, got banged up a little bit in there. He had a tough trip. He was parked around that opening turn. Then he had to come first up and attack on the outside. So we did have an excuse. He got used very hard, but it's just not quite the colt that we were expecting to see so far.
And it was interesting because as a 2-year-old, he always had that 25-26 last quarter. They worked some speed into him, and then he really hasn't quite been himself. The last horse I want to mention real fast isn't Meadowlands Pace eligible. That's the 7, Ken Hanover. I really like him in this spot. First start Lasix after that qualifier. He bled at Harris, Philadelphia. He's 4 for 5 on the season. He paced home in 25-4 last time out, or 25-3 behind Captain Batboy, who just won the Messenger at Yonkers.
Yeah, look at that qualifier who was in against Sarah. He was home 25 and change. You said the horse that beat him, Captain Batboy, just won the Messenger over Yonkers last night, as you said, a major 3-year-old stake. And the horse was runner-up in there, Lockin' Art, who we just saw in that free-for-all pace. So that was a very good qualifier. Ken Hanover, possibly the namesake of our own Ken Workington here, who is on the microphone. He's going to go in the Hall of Fame tomorrow night.
He is. We're very proud of him. Very excited for him as well. 8 horses go behind the gate. 7 of them Meadowlands Pace eligible. We'll send it to Paul and Acacia.
Gabe and Jessica, thank you. Yeah, big congratulations to Ken Workington as well in the Communications Hall of Fame, voted on by the U.S. Harness Writers Association. Special ceremony taking place tomorrow. Mentioned Frank Antonacci, and congratulations to all of the new Hall of Fame inductees.
Yeah, great group of guys going in, and we'll see what happens in this race.
It's the 3-year-old Open coming up next. We'll send it up to the man, Ken Workington, with the call.
They're off, and Christchurch gets the first call. He leaves along with Combustion and Ammo and El Rey on the inside for them across the track into the first turn. Handle Like a Porsche cuts the corner into 5th with Storm Along on the inside 6th. And then comes Ken Hanover at the rear of the field with Mamba. 2 wide to the opening quarter. Combustion presses on, takes the lead. Combustion and Todd McCarthy on the move up on the outside as they pass the quarter is Christchurch and Dexter Dunn 26 and 3. It was hot. Christchurch working hard here to clear the lead. On Combustion, it's those two with Ammo off them in 3rd on the inside, and El Rey tracks along in 4th position. Handle Like a Porsche is gapped in 5th. Another 2.5 to Storm Along, and then comes Ken Hanover and Mamba. Christchurch and Dexter Dunn now leading the way. Christchurch looking for a breather. 54 for the half here. Christchurch Combustion 1-2. Onto the far turn. Ammo is 3rd. It's El Rey 4th. They hit the far turn with Handle Like a Porsche still gapped in 5th. Storm Along is 6th. Ken Hanover underway and a long way from the lead. And then Mamba midway on the final turn. And Christchurch has it by length. Stalked by Combustion and Ammo to the outside. And El Rey 4th. Needs to get going here. Handle Like a Porsche is stride for stride with Ken Hanover, and they turn for home. Christchurch took them by 3/4 in a solid 1:22.1. It's Christchurch trying to outsprint them. Combustion squeezing on through. Ammo is right there. El Rey is trying to close in. Ken Hanover on the far outside. Combustion digging in and fending them off. It's still on the inside. Christchurch. And then Ken Hanover rallied for a second. Then El Rey and Combustion on the inside. Christchurch in a sharp 1:48.2.
Christchurch, you might have been thinking about going to church if you were hoping he'd be able to hold on if you had him as the favorite in this race, holding off a late flying Ken Hanover. That Jessica had some really good things to say about that horse who put in a big effort.
Yeah, it came home pretty quickly, but I'm blessing myself after that. How many times during this race did I say to you, I'm not sure that this horse is going to gut this out, especially when Dave Miller made the move with the 4, but Christchurch back class. All systems go as we head towards the Meadowlands pace for this horse. I haven't given up on this guy, still haven't. My single got through, ran one good race. That was a sharp race for 1:47 and 2.
It had a lot to overcome, too, and he was just able to hold on. You had that big late run from the 7, Ken Hanover on the outside. The number 5, Combustion, looked like he actually was trying to come back a little bit on the inside as well, and it seems like the cavalry was starting to make the charge late there in the race.
Yeah, and I think the important thing with Dexter, too, was he didn't panic when he was stretched out to that opening quarter. He waited, and then he waited until he had some clearance and got through, and the 5 gave him a little bit of space to get in there. Todd McCarthy took back, and after that, he got that second quarter breather and got it out. That's what good horses do. They find ways to win.
Christchurch picking up another victory, gets the win there in the 11th race. We'll bring you prices and more after this. Stay with us on America's Day at the Races.
They're off, and the breeders come to the on the inside of Forte has come under a ride now, and he's going 3 wide, and he's coming up on the outside of National Treasure, and he's coming up after Cape Rock. The 2 of them coming down to the wire. Forte on the outside, Cape Rock along the rail, and Forte has upset Cape Rock to win the Breeders' Cup Domino. What are you waiting for?
You're watching America's Day at the Races. So glad to have you with us on what's been a spectacular night of racing at the Meadowlands. Our program brought to you in part by Naira Bets. You can bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Visit nairabets.com or download the app to get started. Christchurch able to gut out the victory. Dexter Dunn, the driver. A game effort. Fist bumps in the winner's circle.
100%. I love that. Be careful there for a second. Christchurch came off the turn. Did very well, and as we said before, I was telling you, I hope this horse cuts it out because Christchurch looked like he was beaten turning for home and found another gear, and you know what? This was a good prep to get this horse ready for the Meadowlands Pace in a few weeks.
Big late run from El Rey, a big late run especially from Ken Hanover. Christchurch the winner though, Gabe standing by with Winning Connections.
Thanks a lot, Acacia. I'm standing by here with trainer Nancy Tactor. Nancy, talk to us about this Colt Christchurch. I know you've been confident in him all along. In fact, just his second start of the season, you put him in the North America Cup eliminations.
Yeah, he's a really talented horse. You know, he's got a lot of size to him and he covers the ground just amazingly, but he's been a little bit of a work in progress because he's been a little bit of a handful. Last year he was completely a handful, but he kind of's gotten over it and he's gotten better and better racing every week, and today I was super happy with him. He looks nice and straight, and Dex, you know, had a good hold of him, and he raced super tonight.
Yeah, no, he did put up some big fractions there. Were you confident he was going to be able to hold on there against a good group through the lane?
Yeah, you know, I thought he would be able to because I know he's pretty honest, and actually the fractions kind of played to his favor more because he's not really a sprinter. He's better off kind of at a high pace all the time. But obviously, you know, it's been 2 weeks since they raced last, and I don't really train my horses super hard in between the races, so I didn't know how tight he was going to be, but I knew that he would fight and give what he could.
And talk to us about the gap in the schedule, because he debuted in mid-May. Then he came back, obviously, the second week of June for the North America Cup. And as you said, he had a couple of weeks off before tonight. Is that by design?
Yeah, I didn't really want to have too many starts in him. You know, it's a long season, and you're trying to peak them for these big races, but at the same time, you want to have something left for, you know, Lexington and the Breeders' Crown and those types of races, too. So, you know, I always say that, like, a great horse, if you're very lucky, you can peak them 2 times in a season, maybe 3. So you got to kind of pick your spots where you want them to be at their, like, optimal fitness level. You know, obviously the North American Cup would have been good, but the trip didn't work out for him, so hopefully he'll peak for the Meadowlands Pace instead.
We'll see him here next week in those Meadowlands Pace eliminations.
Yep, he'll be here.
All right, congratulations, Nancy Tactor, the trader guys of Christchurch. We'll see him back here next Saturday night.
We can't wait to see him. It's a great insight from Nancy in that interview, too, and learning a little bit about the schedule. And I thought what she said was so interesting about wanting to have your horse peak at the right time. You want to point and work backwards from those big races.
For sure. And I think, you know what? Nancy does such an amazing job with her horses. She's having a tremendous meet at the Meadowlands. And she's got a horse right now in Christchurch that's a real contender, not only in the Meadowlands Pace of Limbs, but for the pace itself.
We'll look forward to seeing Christchurch next week. We'll also see Jess and Gabe next week, too. And, guys, terrific work all evening tonight. But coming up next week, we're looking forward to having the opportunity to show the Meadowlands once again. What are some of the things that we can look forward to on next weekend's show?
I'm really looking forward to the graduate finals as well, Gabe. Those will go for the 4-year-old open trotters and open pacers. We'll see Jiggy Jog back again next week. And, of course, we will see Mad Max Hanover come back next week. He has taken on 2 of the 3 legs, the 2 legs he was in, coming into those finals next weekend.
Yeah, and those come with a $250,000 purse here next Saturday night. So that's going to be one of the feature. And, of course, there's Meadowlands Pace eliminations. So we'll see how many Colts enter for that big money event. Of course, the final, it's going to go for roughly $700,000 and change. That's 2 weeks, July 15th. But we're going to eliminate some horses here next week. We'll see who ends up in that final right here next Saturday night.
Yes, very excited to see how many horses are entered into those eliminations. I cannot wait. Of course, on Tuesday, we'll figure out how many are in those eliminations, plus those graduate finals. So really looking forward to spending next Saturday night with you guys as well, 8 to 11, I believe. And I'm very excited to be with you guys, of course, with Gabe as well. It was a great night of racing.
Yes, it really was. Some really special performances. Jessica and Gabe, great job. And thank you for all of the insight. And you, Paul, great picks tonight as well.
Yeah, sharp. My pick 4 is still going. Hope you guys played it. Always a pleasure working with you.
Same here. We saw some nice performances, as Jessica mentioned. Silver Label pulling a bit of the upset tonight. And how about Bond? She is so good. That 3-year-old Philip delivering as your favorite. Maybe she'll take on the boys a little bit later this season. And how about Ruthless Hanover in the 31st. Dave Brower Memorial. What a special way to pay tribute. Thanks for joining us tonight on America's Day at the Races.
Ever dream of owning your own racehorse? How would you like to get in the winner's circle with the #1 harness racing partnership in the U.S., VIP Stable? There's nothing like the thrill of your horse coming down the stretch. To find out more, call VIP Stable at 877-VIP-WIN-1 or visit us on the web at www.vipstable.com. Turning horse racing fans into racehorse owners. Be a winner.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
The Cross Country Pick 5 combines the best racing from New York with top races from around the country in one bet. Find it in your track menu and play this weekend. Races and free PPs posted at NYRA.com/crosscountry.
On a perfect day, there is no finer place in all of sports.
Nerves, excitement, and anticipation.
Than beautiful, truly stunning. For the Breeders' Cup World Championships.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.